What am I doing? There we go. Alrighty, so in this flight today, this early morning, it was really live. It was real time this morning, or actually yesterday morning. And I have, like I said, I've improved the sound on this plane so that FSPassengers and the in-cabin sounds will be hearable. Okay, I discovered a new keystroke. I set up a new key, Control P, to do view pan from the tower. I had someone had given an airport or something, and that had the capability, and it was like, oh, this is actually capable. If you set up the key, you can do this. So here's your first tip of something new that I learned that you may or may not know about, especially if you're new, is a 360-degree view from the nearest tower. I'll show it here, and I think I show it here in a little bit. Anyway, let's stay followed here. I've got Delta and United and Southwest Airlines AI are working. We'll talk a little bit more about managing AI planes. And I've seen on the Steam a lot of questions about that. And I have some pretty good tricks if you understand the folder structures. I don't have a lot. You don't see tons and tons. There's Delta over there. We've got boats and ships at a pretty good rate, I think, here. The first part of this, I think I have my cars at 30%, and then I'm going to reduce them at the very end for next time because I think there's just a little bit too many. There's US Airways. All these are views from inside the tower. That little blue is when if you back off enough, you're in the window. So we're like peeking our head out the window. So I don't have that bluish color that, so many things. I'm pointing at that because that is an upgrade or a fix to the rotating beacons in the airports. Again, I'm enjoying for myself for the first couple of times this the Ultimate X night or HD building upgrades that are an add-on from Steam, and I ended up liking it a lot. Finally got on sale and was inexpensive enough for me to go ahead. I was noticing that one of those Southwest planes there was yellow instead of the blue-orange thing. So I'm not sure how that goes. Most of these planes are actually coming from the, not all of them, but from the Orbix demo that has their traffic in there. I have disabled the default flight simulator traffic in my system, and I never use it because they're so unorganized. Here, I shouldn't be talking about that. I'm looking at the stars because we have AutoStar X, which the credits down below. I really like this this add-on because it increased the amount of stars like fourfold. At least the actual file size is like 1-something K, and it's like 4K now. So there's it adds thousands or hundreds of thousands of stars to make the sky look much more realistic than out of the box. It also has a feature. There's several features Maybe sometime I should do one just on that. There's several features that, for like a training mode where it'll put the names of the planets up there in the sky. There's different things you can do with it. So, let's get the plane starting to get ready to get loaded and getting the jetway out so we can get some passengers in here. This time, I've just decided not to mess with it because if you drop in this airport, in some different locations at different gates, some of them it doesn't place it. It's not just, you have placement issues. So sometimes you have to back it up first or go a little forward first, and then sometimes you won't be able to get. I've opened the cargo doors, and you won't get the cargo people loading. Now, I actually have a fix, and I think I have to use it. If you have that problem, there's a gauge, and it's also in the credits, and I added it to this plane that you can pull up and force the doors open with it. Because I guess they say that there's sometimes some interference or something that can occur in your normal keystrokes. Do Shift E2 for this and it just won't do anything. Shift E3 for the back on this one for the cargo door in the back, and sometimes it just won't work. It'll only be your main door. So that gauge really helps in that case, because then it works for sure. The first part of this video I have been playing around with. Let me follow what we're doing here. Okay, we're starting the flight, the FSPassengers flight here. Loading the first class and loading economy class. We got our cargo in there. Main point I'm pointing there is that we need to keep that center of gravity close to center as possible. So, and different ones would be different issues. Sometimes these payload models aren't exactly accurate. Okay, so we'll set the destination to KSAN.
Destination set.
And I'm going to give them about 7 minutes. In case you're forgetful, you can have the hostess close the door once they're loaded, but I'm not going to do that this time. Force myself to stay on top of things.
Check flight control.
In this first part, I have done this. This video turned out so good, has so many good features that it's not bothering with a few mistakes that I made. This is a big mistake here. This is way too high. It should be like 146, 148, 149, something around in there. Or 150. So that's not going to happen right. He's going to say that stuff after we're up in the air. Yeah, because that's what that does there is makes your CoPilot tell you, rotate and stuff. So he's going to say it at the wrong time. That's my bad. I had forgotten it. I just didn't. Whatever. I got it wrong. Different plane. Setting up the helpful GPS here. Zooming it out and getting widening up the route indicator. That line's pretty thin. Looking at the flight plan from San Francisco to International to San Diego. It's going to take about an hour and 43 minutes, 466 nautical miles. Flight plan is at 19,000 feet. And right here, I'm just kind of getting way ahead. We're looking at the stuff for our destination here. And pointing out that you can do an ILS 09. If you're doing that, you're going to be on your nav. Radio. There's something that I don't completely understand. So you can see GPS 09 also. So if your source is GPS, then you can just use this GPS. You don't have to do the radio. But if you do the ILS, then you have to make sure your radio is tuned in. I usually do ILS instead of that. By the time I get there, I'll switch over when we get close to landing, because sometimes for some reasons the GPS thing can be inaccurate. In the early days, I haven't had that happen in a long time, but in the early days of me getting this, I would sometimes it would be off by a few feet, landing you somewhere else, or landing you a few feet to the right of the runway. So if you use the ILS, it's absolutely coming from the runway, and if it's misaligned, then you'll go right in off the radio. So I'm setting them both. Could probably use the radio, so I'm just setting that way up ahead of time. Showing you now that it's seeing that with that that's what's nice about this GPS, is I can get that signal, the frequency, from it without having to being the amateur pilot that I am, without having to have the whole going and researching things, find out the actual one. Well, you have to use the map. You could use the default map and then zoom in, and this just makes it really easy. Cool. Okay, so part of FSPassengers to make this good flight is giving them some ambient music to listen to while they're loading. There you go. People are starting to load and talk. That's part of FSPassengers background cabin noises, sounds. Excuse me. Oh, parking brake is not set. See, so we're having. I'm still going to straighten out, but you can see they will not load if the parking brake is not set. I think I get to that in just a minute. Time remaining 3 minutes. Hello. Oh, it was set, and then I turned it off and didn't realize it. Yeah, that's okay. I'm going to find it. Let's turn it back on. I have. Kim, we know that if you use Photoreal or Blue Skies, it doesn't allow auto-gen. It does somewhat mess with the lights of the ultimate light night stuff. It will still come through. So, and if I set it up higher, I'd get a few more. But when I do night flights, we don't use the Photoreal. There's no real need for it, but sometimes I do, because you still get some lighting. Anyway, still looks pretty good. If I turned it off, there would be much more lights there, is what I'm trying to do. And I finally decided to open the cargo door. I noticed, Lamy noticed this engine does not show a graphic well that the other engine does. That's a fluke about this free plane. See, this one, it's got a nice drift, looks like it's spinning. Oh, I also wanted to share, because it turned out that a lot of people don't know this. I actually answered a question on Steam to somebody that we're talking about issues with whether a plane started up with the engines running or not, and it appeared they didn't know. So here's another tip: Control Shift F1. If you hit that at any time on the ground, your plane will shut down. Not a well-known keystroke, I guess. Also, they were having issues with whether they load that way, and it had to do with people need to understand that if you have a saved flight, whether it's a default flight or not, it saves the state of your aircraft. So, and of course, additional issues can occur if that's your default one. So, sounded like the guy was saving a flight with the aircraft, either started or not started, and then some other time he would like load it on up with a different plane and think, why is this plane not started, or vice versa? And that's because it's actually saved the flight state. I was hoping that would help him out. There, just reset barometer with the B key. Speaking of keystrokes, first I said 0, and then, oops, that's it, I just made a mistake.
Go report information. Alpha 12570. Wind 226 F. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition. Ceiling 2,300. Broken. Temperature 12.6. Altimeter 3021. ILS. Runway 19er left and visual. Runway 19er right and use. Landing and departing runway 19er left and runway 19er right. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Alpha. San Francisco to report information. Alpha 12570.
That doesn't work
226
on this
plane.
plane. That's an error. All you have to do is this other speed button. Normally on most jets you have to arm the auto throttle before that speed button would have any effect, and it's just arming with that single button.
Runway heading, climb and maintain 13,000. Departure frequency is 134.5, squawk 4353.
November 7970, clear to Lindbergh Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 13,000. Departure on 134.5, squawk 4353.
November 7970, all passengers are correct. We're ready for the ground on 121.8 when ready to taxi.
I hate that when two things start talking at the same time.
Altimeter 1300, set and check.
She was just telling us that they were aboard.
Altimeter.
I wanted to mention that if you're doing with FSPassengers, it captures your keystroke first. So if there are things like the altimeter
set and check.
that you would normally, if you just set it by just pressing the B key and it just does it automatically for you. FSPassengers is getting in there, capturing it first. But if you don't want to, and then you would key it in. If I was going to do it, and I wanted to change it. You hit it, and he'll say altimeter, and then you hit the numbers real fast, and he'll name the numbers. But if you don't want to on this particular key, you just keep holding it, and it'll do what it would have done anyway. Same thing of any other entry where FSPassenger overrides or is capturing that keystroke first. If you just keep holding it down, it will it'll eventually take. Now here I'm just kind of adding some additional stuff with the flight deck FX panel. That's what you use if you don't have FSX-Passengers and you want to have some internal cabin sound and be in control of it. I find that and then we're going to set up the WAS. I'm not really going to set this up and finish it. I think I'm messing with it for a bit first, and then I decided to do it later because it's not important right now, and I sometimes struggle with getting the what you have to hit at the right time, and obviously I'm having an error. So you have to pull it up. We'll see if you do it right later. It's like you're supposed to pull it up, then hit cursor, then hit change down or something, and it'll finally do what it's supposed to. And I was having difficulty remembering or getting it right, so I will do that later. That's FS-Passengers, the first one working.
Side doors automatic.
Hey, this is your co-pilot up here speaking. Welcome aboard. We always had the best looking flight attendants working for us, but as you can see, they must not have come in today. Well, other than that, I'll be up here trying to figure out how to fly this thing, so if you need anything, just holler.
There's our co-pilot, our RedNeck co-pilot. You have to download him after you get FS-Passengers. He does not come by default, at least he didn't when I got it.
Of the aircraft in case of an emergency. During an emergency, please remain in your seat.
Yeah, okay, I've had enough of that for one day. Tell you what, if you don't know what to do, just raise your hand and I'll come back there and knock you upside your head.
There you go. So we couldn't hear this very well before at all. Notice how the sounds of the engines now are not so screamingly loud. Not sure if I mentioned that before because I think I just did, didn't I? In case I didn't, because I used Audacity to load them up and reduce the volume and resave them. You get these guys, it's like I'm going I don't want to shut the door on the guys that are loading, because it can. I've had an experience before where he was like coming, he was coming and I closed the door and he goes right into the side and the door's closed and it did crash it.
Southwest 3336 is cleared to Las Vegas Airport and filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 11000. Departure frequency is 134.5, squawk 6143.
Southwest 3336 cleared to Las Vegas Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 11000. Departure on 134.5, squawk 6143.
Southwest 3336, readback is correct. Contact ground on 121.8 when ready to taxi.
I'm not sure how many times it'll cycle. Well, there's the door gauge I'm talking about. It was like I'm having trouble and I want to get that door closed because sometimes that baggage guy will recycle and come back again. And I don't know how many times he'll do that and just stay there. Maybe I'm supposed to. But it's like, let's get out of here.
Com 1820, set and check.
That's me setting up chatter. If you hit C once, you'll get COM1. You hit C twice, and you get COM2, and then you enter the number of the chatter. And here in the future, I'm going to actually open up that chatter and show you where it is.
Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 5,000. Departure frequency is 134.5, squawk 3175.
United 1577, cleared to Boston Airport as filed.
The sun's just starting to come up over there.
Departure on 134.5, squawk 3175.
United 1577, read that correct. Contact ground on 121.8.
It's used to it being over on the left. I don't know why I tried to move it. Don't like it. I'm even gonna turn it off here in a minute, but I end up turning it back on because I forgot the keystroke. In this video, I'm not worrying anymore with a lot of videos about just trying to make it a movie, a lot of this I want to be helpful, so I'm going to be opening up screens and stuff more and more, and actually showing how to do this stuff to make my videos of more of a value to people. Really nice shots there, and
San Francisco ground, November 7970 with Bravo, ready to taxi IFR. November 7970, taxi to hold short of runway 19 right, via taxiway Alpha Echo. Contact tower on 120.51 ready. Taxi 2 and hold short, runway 19 right, using taxiway Alpha Echo. November 7970.
yeah, I'm cheating on where to go because I don't want to spend the time to
6273, San Francisco Tower, base is reported at 300, runway 28 left for the land,
exactly where I'm
1103,
going
crossway,
with just the signs,
747,
which
Los
is
Park Trail.
what we normally have to do. I was trying to say before that that's pretty good performance today. Sometimes I don't have such a good performance, but, because of memory being higher. I use.
Ladies and gentlemen, Captain has advised that we are now clear for takeoff.
That's a mistake. I wasn't really ready to do that. You really shouldn't turn that off until we're ready to take off. So I just turned it back on. And she'll say that again when we really are. But no, we're not ready to take off. We're still taxiing. Trying to shut up and follow the video and talk about this when I had planned in the right places. There's plenty of time to talk about the traffic and stuff later once we get going, and there'll be some
1623, runway 1 right, close for takeoff.
longer little open sections while we're flying, and I can talk about those things. I don't get carried away. Start talking about all the things I wanted to, the tips and stuff I wanted to share right away. Already have I feel like I've already gotten off track here. I would have been doing this yesterday, but something happens in this flight, and some other personal issues has made me not be able to get back to this.
San Francisco ground, United 1556, taxi to the gate. United 1556, taxi to the gate, Foxtrot 900, via taxiway Juliet Alpha.
Then I forget some of my
Taxiing to
plans.
gate, Foxtrot 900, via taxiway Juliet Alpha. United 1556.
I'm really happy with how this is looking for the most part. I've been messing with some of the anti-aliasing and settings and trying to figure
350G, turn left to taxiway, after the contact ground point 8.
Left to deck, go to ground point 8, room 350.
well, I'm not going to get into it, just, you know, trying to learn more and solidify about exactly what's giving me best performance quality. Right now, I have only one change.
Southwest 3069er with Bravo, ready to taxi to IFR.
Southwest 3069er, taxi to the hold short of runway 19er, right, taxiway Alpha Echo. Contact tower on 120.51 ready.
And I'm not saying it's the best yet, it's what we're running right now. And later we'll be running it actually in a different mode.
1639, Francisco Runway 1
But I'm running vertical
Southwest
sync
3069er, hold position, touchdown traffic.
in what's called adaptive mode, half refresh rate. And that forces the GPUs to only do their thing with half the refresh rate of the monitor.
718, contact on departure.
Active 718.
Yeah, there's another different colored stuff, that different colored Southwest. Well, that's the only setting that is outside of the, I do have it's outside the program. Inside we're doing anisotropic filtering, which is about blurries. And that is the highest setting within the app. And aliasing is in the app still too, because I've heard rumors that the interface of NVIDIA's thing, when you set up that external profile for flights in there, that it doesn't really take in some cases, but it's just as far as I know right now, that could be misinformation. So I was just playing with it, just not try to play around. That's kind of just too much, gets confusing. Really don't know about that. There's an NVIDIA inspector that people talk about. Yeah, footballs with that. I actually just got it because of that rumor that what I was doing is like, you're telling me this stuff is not taking. So I'm just finally found the NVIDIA inspector and looking at that. I guess that program started out as just something like a GPU-C and didn't really have any additional functionality that the guy added this functionality to be able to change those profiles within that program. And it has some additional stuff, just different information. Anyway, look up a flight here. Yeah.
164, contact north out of Bush today.
Altitude 130, set and check.
That's the nice thing about FSPassengers there, is being able to just, that's the F key, hit F and it says altitude, and then you can enter it. really quick, so it's really nice being able to not have to open up the panel or try to use your mouse to change it. That there, I have done this wrong. At this time, I didn't realize that that's an alert value, and later I fixed it. But I'm thinking at the time, I'm going, like, that was an altitude indicator. Like, what? Maybe at least at some point, maybe I didn't. Maybe I figured it out by this time. But when I first was in this plane, I was going, is that the altitude? And I'm setting it $5,000. We're just setting it to, that's a warning for 1,000 feet. Now you set your trim. About 300 on heavier plane. We just in comparison to, you don't need that on small general aviation planes. But, somewhere that's required. And of course, I've played with it since. It's like, yeah, you don't get as much, a nice even pull up. You have to really pull back on the stick more. So. I'm sure that's different for each plane in reality. How much trim is recommended, probably even depending on how much weight you have.
Base is reported at 300.
Again, as I learn more about flight, a lot of it is just like, okay, I know about it, but I'm not doing it yet. I'm actually learned. Oh, what's over here? That's an accident. Oh, again, closing that mini report because I don't know what I did. Turn it back on a little bit. I guess with that whole philosophy of keeping the screen cleaner. Remember, I always talk about views being, or zoom. Default all your zooms at the beginning to one point to just no zoom. So you don't have the fishbowl effect. I don't like the fishbowl effect. That's people in other videos. And it's like, you. Great guy. It was a great guy that really showed me a lot of it. It's from Australia. It's some great videos about actually about the technicals between your monitor and zooms. And, people don't realize that you're getting deformed images all the time. Zooms too far.
United 1639, runway 1 left, clear to take off. Now 1741, San Francisco Center, runway 1 left, line of way. Light Sky with 6241, crossway through left and contact ground.
No connection on my monitor. That's great. I'm hoping that the stream didn't just totally toast. But it's probably just because the extreme amount of interference and advertising on mobile phones.
San Francisco Tower, November 7970 at runway 19 right, ready for takeoff, IFR to Lindbergh, November 7970, cleared for takeoff, runway 19
Guess you just have to
right.
watch the video after it's done.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 19 right, November 7970.
Nippon Cargo 109er Heavy, runway 28 right, clear for takeoff. Clear for takeoff, clear right, upon cargo 109 heavy.
Now we stop the
Ladies and
music.
gentlemen, the captain has advised that we are now clear for takeoff.
If anybody's
one left, clear for takeoff.
wants to be questions, I apologize.
1027.
I can't see the monitor because the phone is not working. Or the phone saying that there's no connection for the video. What's going on? Go out and go back in the old Microsoft solution.
At 1027 now, runway 1 right, line up and wait.
Wow, I wonder if I've lost the whole, is this screen toast? Have I actually lost? Let me go check the, I'm gonna go check my cable.
1741, contact north approach. 1741,
Looks okay. What does the matter with it? After the internet, what are you talking about? I'm not offline. I bet you I can go out and freaking
United 1679, passenger control runway 1 left, line up and wait. 1 left, line up and wait, United 1679.
That's working fine. But if I try to look at chat, monitor the chat, it's saying that.
Cactus 718, runway 1 right, click for takeoff. There you go, 1 right, Cactus 718. 9400, runway 1 right, line up and wait, chart 21. November 383, sir, Foxtrot, turn right at Echoes and contact ground point 8.
San Francisco Tower, Delta 1152 is 11 miles northeast. Inbound visual, runway
Okay, I seem to have my monitor back.
Delta 1152, San Francisco Tower, fly straight in, runway 19er right, altimeter 3021. Make straight in, runway 19er right, Delta 1152.
As soon as we get going up and all talking about AI, it kind of came up with, it just came up on Steam discussion.
Delta 1152, cleared to land, runway 19er right.
109er heavy, runway 2 right, click for takeoff.
Cleared to land, runway 19er right, Delta 1152.
is acting all funky. I now have a wait signal on the screen.
Landing gears up.
70, contact northbound departure on 134.5.
Tower United 1273 ILS, 1273, 10 tower, base is reported 300, runway straight right, clear to land, wind 1703.
I'm gonna get all that stuff back page so I can get lazy.
Man, rotate.
November 7970, acknowledge last
I
transmission.
see he started going up.
134.5,
He's jumping.
November 7970.
Talk about the VNAV. Call out the wrong time.
Northbound departure, November 7970 is at 1,500, climbing 13,000.
1,000.
7970, northbound departure, roger, altimeter 3020. November 7970, turn right heading 355, resume on navigation, climb and maintain 13,000. Turn right heading 355, proceed on course, climb and maintain 13,000, November 7970.
I did not do this as efficiently as I should have. End up coming back around, but I decided to just stay with that. You actually could see a little more of this area. But with changing views so often, and I've said before, changing views very often will
November 7970.
lose blurries.
Northbound approach on 133.5.
2,500.
Beautiful morning.
133.905. November 7970.
I mentioned something for the future that I'm going to have to talk about in this video. We are not on active sky right now. This is just real world, default real world weather. And
73, turn left to Tango, the contact ground point 8.
the reason for it
Cargo 109, heavy contact, north out of Portugal.
is I'm in an experimental mode of just how much, whether it was a fluke, there's a lot of things you can't take for granted, anything almost, like a first analysis. You really have to keep things in mind and keep doing it. And keep think about them under different conditions. And that is that I think that I was thinking, I already know the weather overall is one of the biggest hits on the CPU and frame rate. So in some cases, I also just wanted to compare the difference. And we're going to compare the difference in this video. This doesn't look very bad to me or that much different than the add-on. But in the future, we're going to see one of the flaws in FSX's weather.
Out there, turn right on taxiway, Echo, that's speed through the one, then left on Charlie, ground point 8.
going to switch over to using active sky. So take note of that. But you're in the beginning here, we're seeing standard weather and clouds, and in the future, in a little bit, we're going to be seeing active sky. Just checking out the AI taking off from Oakland Airport. That was kind of what I'm talking about right there, is where this experience from a long time ago, people know that it'll like suddenly pop in the group, that kind of misty, overcasty thing, and then pop out again, pop in, pop out. And that's what the default weather engine does, and
Oakland Center, November 7970.
not necessarily an error.
9,500 for 13,000. November 7970. Oakland Center, Roger. Altimeter 3021.
Well, dang, man, we're already at 10,000 feet.
So there's a CoPilot. There's a single flash that happens.
Runway 1 right, click for takeoff.
Like one time all the time.
That's 400, runway 1 right, 1.721.
Running in DX10 mode.
November 383, sir, Foxtrot, surround the echo,
The water
ground point 8.
configurator set to use the DX10 mode. Like there'll be one time that it has to do something, I guess, if it's adjusting and get a flash. We're looking, so there on the right, we were just looking at Oakland Airport, and now we're going to run over the city, and here comes the bridge. And unfortunately, by the time I did this video, I was going to have a special little thing in here, but no, I'm just going to...
November 7970.
When you use that enterprise add-on, it could be the enterprise sitting right over there.
7.8 for November 7970. Oakland Center, November 7970. Is climbing Street 12000 for 13,000.
November 7970. Oakland Center, Roger. Altimeter 3021.
A little bit, I'm going to show what the settings are. I don't think I have it.
November 7970. Climb and maintain flight level 1.
I think it is at maximum scenery level.
Climb and maintain flight level 190. November 7970.
We usually run, or at least on this one, I'm running
Altitude 190, set and check.
I'm usually running, full, extremely dense on the scenery, but especially when I use blue screen, I only go normal on auto gen because you really don't have auto gen. But yet, if you set it really high, it'll still process it. It just doesn't go through because it's saving CPU time. Most likely.
November 7970. Please expedite your climb to flight level 190.
Keystroke error. Sorry. Oops. Okay, talk about the old. This is what always gets you on that. It's like, at least on this plane.
November 7970. Please
It's
expedite your
not.
climb to
You're
flight
thinking,
level
what are you doing?
190.
The vertical speed is not. It's like some planes I, for a long time, got in the habit of thinking, well, it automatically, once you went there up to a certain default.
Contact Oakland Center on 1190.475.
That apparently isn't true. Maybe it's just the last thing you had at.
for November 7970.
you can get in trouble in this plane
Feed.
by not paying attention. Because say you're trying to descend and you think you're descending, and it's like, oh no, you're only just, don't pay attention. You can only be descending even nothing or you know, a lousy 100 feet, and it's not fast enough.
One cargo 109 heavy, runway 3 right, and line up and wait, traffic 7 mile final. Line and wait, 28 right, Victor 1, cargo 1.
There's our route. So we just kind of took over that hill and then came back to the standard route. We are on course now for going south. Looks like we're right in the middle of two different levels of clouds. Some below us, some above us. Definitely two layers. Oh man. The monitor's not working again, so I don't know if anybody's chatting. My phone doesn't seem to do well with our internet. I just don't get it. Unless everybody's getting that problem. Turning back on to see how the passengers are doing. You don't want to, with FSPassengers, you want to get that seatbelt sign off as soon as you hit cruising altitude, or you can get passengers get unhappy. I'm not sure if you get a penalty. I don't think you get a penalty, but you might not get as many points. As much trouble is going on my monitor. I gotta move my modem, or the modem over where I can see these lights better. They're covered up.
Turn left to taxiway, I southern contact ground point 8.
Left to Echo, then ground point 8, Rover 352.
Making me scared here, because if everybody's experiencing, no, they can't be this. I'm not even looking at a video.
We have started the in-flight movie for your entertainment. You will find headphones to your left and a volume and language control to the right.
See, now I missed
For
them.
those of you
So
that
we're
don't
going
care to
with
pay for the
Minions.
headphones, please enjoy this silent film.
Set them up their film pretty early. Get your film, your movie going early, and calculate your time right on your movie. You either have a really short movie and it doesn't keep them happy, or there it goes. Yeah, there goes that. There you go. The snapping in of the graying, and then boom, and then it's out again. See that? Out and in, out and in. That's the bug, or the funky effect of default FSX weather. It does not happen with.
We're up at the transitional altitude, however you spell it.
Altimeter 2992. Set and check.
Once you hit the transition altitude, it's always 2992 above 18,000. Well, I'm hoping the upload is, the stream is doing okay, because boy, coming back the other way, my phone certainly isn't having a lot of fun. Still can't even, it just took it forever just to get into YouTube. Now I'm trying to get back to the channel and back to the live stream, and it's just wait. This is the last time. This is it. The last time I'm going to use the phone to monitor. It's both too small and is so problematic. I do have the laptop, and I should have get that going when I do a live stream and monitor from there. The upload should be fine because it's on cable. The phone is on the Wi-Fi.
1741, contact North Dakota Fortress.
1741, bye-bye.
No, I kind of like it when it's clear and doesn't have the mist, but the mist thing seems to be on right now, and that's actually more realistic up there. It popped out again. Popped out and in again. Well, I can't monitor. I can't answer any chat because the system, you know, cable. I've got good, powerful cable, but how come whenever seems like uploading, then downloading seems to go awful. So if you have any questions about this video after you watch it, or things that I have said that weren't clear and you have any more questions, leave them in the comments below. Subscribe and get notifications, and I'll answer your questions in the comments. Supposed to be watching very closely what my cues were and to discuss the right things at the right time. Chemtrails. Let's check to see if I'm getting not too bad, not too blurry, and not too jumpy for this old machine. I will say that I am now convinced and experienced as I am that, boy, it must be very nice to have an i7 and
Yeah, hey, think down what y'all fly steward is back there making sure these will get these poor folks something to drink.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has now turned off the seatbelt sign. You may now feel free to roam about the cabin.
yeah, because I have that one. The GPU, because I'm convinced it took that jump. You have to jump to that, and I know that I can see people that when they're tweaking their FSX correctly, and they get it running right. And a lot of them don't even have to tweak it. Probably aren't even aware of some tweaks that would make even their systems run a little better, but they're already being able to screen through these graphics. But it takes, I think you have to have up to
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time
980
we'll begin
before you
service.
get that huge jump
If
in
you'd like a
video
meal, please
performance.
extend your tray table and lift your seats to the upright position. Thank you.
And to me, that is still, that huge jump is like, that's the real next generation. Where I thought, I went out and spent a little extra money on these 770s, thinking that they were going to do a much better job than these old, like 90 GT 9800s or whatever I had, 9600s, 2800s, and it just, I just feel like I should have just waited, saved my money. Because you just don't get the jump in performance in video until the 960, I think. It's either the 960 or the 980. It probably is. Anything before that is like big, all those performance marks they have. And that's all Linus tips. I think it was Linus. Tips or somewhere else, whatever, some comparison, and anything before those is just there's like a good 50% jump. All I'm pointing out this little area down here is that's a little farm, famous farm or air. General aircraft. There's actually a little add-on that emulates this with real buildings, and I don't have it installed right now, or I don't have it active. It's installed, but it's not active. And you can land there in small planes, and there's lots of cool scenery. But you have to land on that little strip there. But there it is, nice and unobstructed. I'm noticing that. Or unmodified. The problem with that was it was only the daytime, and I was flying one time like near dark, and then you could really see it, too much contrast. Guarantee you my CPUs are running 100%. Actually, I changed it. I want to mention some settings if anyone's watching. Use pools equals 0. It's the buffer pool section that does not come default in FSX-D. And it was always a requirement. So if anybody knows the answer to this question, is there a reason why they don't think that that's necessary? I think what they say that it does is it overrides the simulator's default mechanism for this function that it does, and it's always been a huge performance thing improver, and I do it, as well as the affinity mask for specifying, and all these are edits in FSX. And I had set my affinity map at 14 as a calculation for mine, for standard.
Oakland Center, Southwest 613,
But
9,600, climbing 16,000.
Southwest 613, Oakland Center, Roger.
I have discovered that with some other research that really with 14, if you look it up, it like just it moves some portion away from CPU 0 and leaves that available for other things, I guess, or whatever. And 84 is for mine if you had hyper-threading, or a 4-core with any 4-core CPU with hyper-threading. Mine doesn't have it, that's why it's 14 instead of 84. But something I had read, and I had been running up to it, and I think it's this portion, I've been running it that way with 15. And I just verified that with 15, it, you know, I can tell you right now it's on 15 and all 4 CPUs are going 100%, and I have a certain frame rate going on. It's not showing right now. But I'm suspecting right now, I have changed it back to 14, and I pull up the task manager, so looking at these things, and I do see that it is now 1, 2, and 3 will be running 100%, but there's more time left. So you think, well, you know, so this person was already saying, believe me, change it to 15 and you'll get more of your processor. And that is true. It does. Like I just said, under 14, it's 0 CPU is freed up somewhat. But I'm actually right now leaving it at 14 because I've got proof, or I've got some indications anyway, that I'm actually getting a better frame rate with it at 14. And that's the biggest thing, you know, we want to have, so we don't have jumpy and blurry, jumping, stuttering, or blurry. Right? So, I'm going to be running it that way for a while. And the second part of this video is going to be it running that way. As well as change the vertical sync to use the smooth mode, which is not running at half refresh rate. It lets vertical sync go as fast as it wants, but avoids screen tearing by just dropping any frames that are above the refresh rate, which totally makes sense to me because, you know, that's why you tear, because it's riding over things that the monitor's not ready for yet, and there's no reason to be giving a monitor any more than it can take. If you have one of those new monitors at 120 hertz, then hey, that would probably, that's a big factor. It would probably kill my, if I had 120 hertz deal, it would probably be really working my GPUs. Would probably not be able to keep up. And I think people that have problems sometimes don't realize how that you know, every era is like the hardware and the software capabilities kind of go together.
Have you ever been to Hawaii? I went last summer. It's incredibly beautiful there.
You know, the stewardess went to go to Hawaii. That's our stewardess. That's Julie. I may have to delete this and do it again because I've gotten too tired here. Stay track of everything that I wanted to do, and I'm babbling about stuff I didn't want. Really nice looking pretty.
That was 5374, transmission center, only 1 left, line of point.
Oh, I was checking the frame rate. There we are. See it targeting at 30, and we're right at 29. 720. You know, it looks like I have just. It's not really even hitting 30, so it's like just made it. I'll bet you if I. Yeah. Okay, I wanted to show the settings really quick that I was at 30. That's because of all that. The nose driver was on. We're in DX10 mode. Everything maxed out, ultra high in the aircraft. Scenery is all high. Mesh resolution at 5. Oh, I want to talk about that jumping. Yeah, just what I was saying. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. That mesh resolution in the middle being 5mm. Keep that in mind. You can't really see it realistically over 80, 90 miles. That's why I never set it any higher than that. Traffic, everything 100 on all the airport. But vehicles and ships and stuff a little less than that. And I'm going to go down, I'm going down to 25 in the future on the cars because they're just, I think they're just a little bit too many. And just that little, and those are very CPU and frame rate killers. So I'm going down just a little bit. I'll run with that for a while. Anyway, so okay, the mesh. Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, other people and experts know about this before because I just found out about it from them. But that is what caused if you get jumping, if some of the vehicles at an airport are like jumping. Because of the recalculating something, and it's because of that mesh setting. Depending on what you have for a mesh and what's going on, if it's jumping, it's like you can move it to either side, either one section lower, or one step lower, or one step higher. So I was always just maxing it out at 1 because I do have some 1mm. Stuff I can cut up on. I'm not sure if that flies. Now I'm thinking about it, but anyway, it worked. It was like, sure enough, jumping went away just by moving it back a little. I think it also has to do with like the edges of pictures being too sharp, like on the top of the mountain. You can just see it's just like too sharp. There's that whole weather putting in the fuzzy again, and that's I think where I'm about to get annoyed with that. Yeah, it's like I'm at it. Oh, we had an error with the moving map that I had shown a little while back. I guess I was doing something else. Didn't talk about that. I'm going to turn that off. Yeah. Boom. No, not sure if that's it. Now watch. A little bit here. We're not really supposed to start at afterwards. We're supposed to start at first. That was like really annoying, but I have seen it, and it could cause a crash, and it has before, but taking a chance here. Boom, there it comes. Now that engine has popped in, and now we won't get that popping in and out of the misty portion. It'll either be there or it won't. So in some ways, well, that's the thing. The clouds really don't. The clouds themselves, or the textures of the clouds, that is not changed by active sky. We're still using that. But I'm not that, like say, hey, I just got that, so I'm not that technically up on it. I guess it's just the engine and what it thinks it does. It has a few advantages, but in a lot of cases I go, well, not that much different. Looking pretty close to how it was a little earlier without it. They seem to be spinning a little slower than when you are seeing a spinning or moving cloud. Well, those are moving pretty fast.
You're 400, wind 160 at 4, runway 1 right, clear for takeoff.
I almost think.
And that's 1523, runway 1 right, line up away.
Well, it seems like I saw it pop in and pop out anyway. Oh, I'm pointing up there to see instead of right at 29 now. We've lost about, by using that engine, I lose, I'm losing 3 to 5 frames per second. Because now we're kind of popping down at times, but it seems like it's around 25, 26 in general. So there's the hit. There's also a good example of the hit that active sky takes. As I turned it off, we were, just a minute ago, we were just looking at it being sitting right there below 30. Well, this stuff takes a while to settle in, though, too. It could go back up after a while. Once FSX gets used to it, I'm not sure. It's the things you just have to get over time. I didn't notice it or point out. I think that down here on the left corner, that's like the first castle. We're not going very close to it, but I've flown by that really close. This whole flight here is like, it's a very different experience if you take a small plane and go down really low. You can, or at least not so low that it's blurry, but it's a low flight. It can be a lot more interesting in a way. As far as if you're wanting to sightsee around the ground. What are you doing here?
Hello, Captain. Hey, do you know any good places to get a drink when we land?
Oh, stewardess wants to go out for a drink. Hey. Sure. Sure, we can find a place. That particular panel doesn't have anything active, but it does look nice at night. It has lit up well. That's where the one on the left is. Okay, a quick look at what. I don't even have the FMC on because I've actually done a little bit more study just over the last couple of days, just only got an idea more of uh-oh. I have to turn on my monitor. My monitor is also going out. So I finally read the manual, and it's just not quite stuck yet on setting, sticking yet on setting vertical elevation waypoints. And exactly, whatever. I'm at least now a little bit more aware of how to enter things now. There. I don't know why I had left that up there because I couldn't see it just now. I had to turn my monitor up for a minute to reset it. The TCOM card's going out. And yeah, I think this will be the last video that I do before I have to really unconnect it and go back. Put in my little old 19-inch monitor, get me by while I pull the back off of this and get the numbers off of that card, and so I can see pricing on it. Yeah, if I look at, you're thinking out right there. That's a direct tube. I'm just talking about, I was indicating myself to talk about what I just said about not really knowing how to, not quite sticking it in my head about where now. It sounded like actually there's a real quick thing to make it calculate itself. But, I'd say I'm just not very at FMC yet. I get sidetracked on other stuff. I get sidetracked on once another scenery or another is this or that. But I am going to fill in that gap because I need to learn to do that right. I apologize.
Squawk.
Like I fell asleep early and I woke up early and I would be fine now. I'm getting tired in the morning. There it goes. I was talking about right there. See, I finally got KSAN with it, and he was talking, and that's because he's FSPassenger is, you know, has keystrokes for S, K, S, and N. Obviously, K is bringing the squawk. S is for something else and whatever in the end. So I had to hold down that K key and then it repeats too much. Then I have to backspace out and then hold down the S key and it repeats. And you gotta backspace it back. And you do A without it, then you gotta do N and E. Because you gotta hold it down to get past FSPassengers, and then it's in, then your keyboard is in repeat mode, right? That's how I get around it. Hold it down, let it do multiple things, backspacing it. I'm also completely wrong right here. I discovered what I'm looking there for is I should be looking at direction. I'm looking at that mag variance. And I'm thinking about that has to do with the WAS, which is I should have the name for what that really stands for. Wide area or something. It's just been so long since I was seriously learning it. But anyway, so you right here, this little section here. Let's just set the horizontal bar down there to be correct at the correct magnetic point, because you know for every runway might be runway 9, but it might really be 91 degrees or 93 or whatever. And at this point, I've totally got that wrong. The top one's okay. I mean, the vertical one, obviously, there's no change there since you got your ripper right. But so that is going to be incorrect until I get my thing together here in a little bit and change it to be 93, because that's the case in San Diego. It's runway 9, but it is, you know, for 90 degrees. So that should be saying 93, because that's where it really is. I grabbed the wrong number, 13 in there. For some strange reason, it just changed to 4. That was weird. That's, I think that's an error. Every time I hit that compass, so I'll put the compass on, it becomes 14, take it off, back to changing. What is that? Starting to get close to our destination here. So I'm trying to get prepared. Now looking at the frame rate, I could be wrong. Oh no. Oh, look at that. You know, it's so hard to analyze because you never know. There's just so much going on that it could have been slowing down at the beginning of that because of just where we were. Some scenery below or something. Because now it's... No, what? We're looking at it as long as I'm viewing the ground, it's still at 29, 29 without. And then as soon as you look at the sky, it's dropping. You know, it's still kind of just more erratic than it was before we had active sky running. That airport, I think it's San Luis Obispo. I have scenery for it, but in this particular run here, I really have taken out everything except for our origin, our origin and our destination scenery. There is so much. I have really a ton of free, quite a bit of. There's that package that has a ton of.
1027 now, runway 1 right, line up and wait.
A ton of airports and some of its own. It was early. It was done a long time ago. Some of its own photo reel in it. So that's going to like duplicate it if I have it on. You know. And a lot of those other airports anyway. The San Luis Obispo in particular is really nicely done. Free airport. But for the, if you're not going down there, we're not going down there, so, and we have foot reel, so I used to keep it all active all the time, as long as whatever state or area I'm running around, I would keep all of it, you know, active. But I've decided for frame rates and for balance and stuff, just to not do that. Now, if I was not doing photo reel, then I would. I'd have it on. The only thing it would be good for, you know, like zooming in like that to see what's down there, but you're not seeing the, you know, you're not getting the benefit of, you know, how it looks when you're landing. So Why have it steel frames? When we can essentially see properly in the same resolution, without messing up our perspective. You're actually seeing what buildings are there in the photoreal. The only time I like the whole switching the perspective is when you start getting close to the ground. Now what's going to happen here, I was going to put in the title, but I just said not to. I just decided to surprise everyone. So early, she can mention that.
Contact North California.
Sector 718, take care.
If you've seen some of my other videos with the same scenery, and sometimes in the earlier ones, wasn't quite as tweaked as well, and it's a lot more blurry. And something that's important that somebody else was having problems with is, at least on, well, I think this would apply to even newer, faster machines, because just the way that memory works. If you, I have my best performance especially if I'm going to do, a video or a live stream, by making sure that not only every time I get rid of taskbar items and programs that don't need to be running down there. Not that they're huge memory hogs, you need that, but a lot of them are active. Going to look out for updates. You never know when they're going to pop up. Your OneDrive, or any of your cloud drives, so I get rid of those. And in addition to that, a fresh reboot, because I have found sometimes, after running a bunch of other programs that I know, there's just, people don't program as well as they do, and there's like a lot of programs with memory. Some people just have so much memory these days, they don't think it affects them negatively, but it can affect you very negatively.
It smells like you done messed your britches. You had some enchiladas last night or something? Good Lord.
Oh, smart ass CoPilot. Telling me what? That we messed our britches. Somebody did the thing. So those are little comments. There's other kinds of comments that your CoPilot and the stewardess and stuff will say, depending on what's going on. You can't really show it all in one video unless you want to, unless you know everything and you can make that happen, trigger it off. Or the difference between what happens when you crash and streaming, passengers, or what happens when you don't crash at the end of the flight. Obviously, there's different. It is dynamic. Memory in a sense. Anyway, I was talking about the taskbar, the memory leak. Yeah, I basically, especially if you have an older machine, or even, like I say, I don't think this even apply to newer machines. Whatever your free memory is, or your memory usage, like on average when you boot up, but mine's about like 1.8 in use. If you run a while, other programs, and I think there's a memory leak in FSX as far as when you select a new plane. If you keep going in and select a plane, and then say, and then go back in, and you cancel and go back, every time you cycle that loop, I think there's a memory leak, because I've had it actually, like, the only time I ever had it run out, the only time I ever had it seem to just keep increasing memory usage. So anyway, so if I look at my machine and I stop FSX and I see that I've still like got 2.3 or 3.0 and I'm not running anything, it's time for a reboot. And it always seems to, less blurry. It's just like this is pretty darn clear. When for FSX, you just want everything to be as clean as possible, because it's just such a holiday. It just needs so much going on. A little flashy cloud thing that you think might be an error or kind of flashy.
What's like flash to it is back there to make yourself useful. Get these poor folks something to drink.
Getting them some more drinks before the end. You don't want to be still serving food or drinks when you land, obviously. It's about keeping your time right, or the movie. Anyway, back to the cloud thing. That I used to think, God, that's weird, kind of tacky. Then I was actually taking a real flight from Seattle to Portland, and looked at the window and went, oh my gosh, that is actually what it looks like when you have clouds inside, down so low in the mountains. So it's not unrealistic at all. It may be a little bit more flashing here, but it even flashes now. Like it's just something about your eyes and the sun and everything. I just saw a live stream of a guy doing Euro simulator, and I just subscribed to him, so I can't remember his name, just before doing this. And, he's the most awesome setup that I have seen. Before live streaming. Wow, you're really darn close to looking like he's sitting in a pickup. And he's got a camera on his head as well, so you can see his hands on the steering wheel. You can tell when you look close it's not, but I mean it's just really awesome.
November 7970, point you, flight level 190.
November 7970, Los Angeles Center, roger. November 7970, turn left, heading 315, descend and maintain flight level 190.
Here we go with
November 7970, turn left, heading 315,
very
descend and maintain flight
getting
level 190.
Turn left, heading 315, descend and maintain flight level 190. November 7970.
November 7970, turn left, heading 310.
So that's what I do for realism here.
Turn right, heading 130.
If you don't have ATC going,
November
you're not keeping up with
left, heading 315.
having them
November 7970, turn left heading 30.
follow
Yes,
your
it was
flight.
my body and your thing.
November
Six.
7970,
Come on, baby,
turn left
let
heading
me
100,
know.
zoom on navigation.
Is my singing offend you?
Turn left heading 100.
Better when he
Zoom
says
on
that when
navigation.
nobody's
November
talking, including me.
7970.
That co-pilot singing silly songs. Yeah, I was saying, if you don't do ATC, of course, you know, you're just going to be running your GPS route. But in reality, in real life, right, they're going to be telling you they want you to do certain things. So I always do this. That's why I run it this way for realism. Is stay up with them, keep them in my, you know, keep them following me. And at this point, some point here, let's do it just a little bit. Turn the GPS off and start doing what they're telling me. I'm going to do that right here. You can ignore them, and they'll eventually, if you ignore them, they'll eventually keep asking, and they'll eventually say, okay, you're not going to be able to tell me, so we're just going to stop following. See you later.
Left for the land, wind 1603, crossway, Chevron 7747, looks like trail.
And in real life, you'd land and they would go, okay, give us your pilot's license, please. You're suspended. Whatever. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that yet. I don't think that they're going to mess with me. It's only Santa Barbara. Oh, man, Santa Barbara, I tell you, if I had all the Santa Barbara, that part of that California scenery package I was talking about. Just got a ton of stuff around Santa Barbara. Not only pilots, or not only aircraft, and I guess that's what I'm talking about, just having those active. Yeah, I don't have any of that active because it not only rate 19,000 feet, couldn't see it. No, I'm killing the frame rate. So I just showed there's a bunch of other airports I was plus that California scenery thing. They have a bunch of stuff around Santa Barbara, including oil rigs and stuff out there. And then he upgraded, and then somebody has this, like I ended up using a tool. I found a tool that helps you find duplicate airport scanner. Look it up. It's out there on one of the free sites. It was awesome for telling you if you've got duplicate AFCADs for any given airport. And I had suspected that, you know, I had been adding a little airport at one time, way early in this build. And because of FSPassengers, I wanted it. That's why I have kind of the most around this California, because I was going to be doing a lot of flight through. Obviously out of here. So anyway, I suspected I had duplicate stuff, and sure enough, they found, like, you know, you got 3 AFCADs going. That'll really kill you. Want to kill your frame rate. And when you're in scenery in the first place, you know, hard on the system. You know, 3 but in some ways you got to be very. I was actually experimenting with some of them in the past because they would be different, and I would like load one and compare and make sure that you didn't have any problems with like the same buildings being in the same place, or the runway being off, making it look funny, because you can combine different people's attempts and end up with, you know, a much fuller scenery. Because some guys would leave out certain buildings, and other ones would put the buildings in and stack them on top of each other, and you got a full thing. You got everything.
135.5 for November
But again, that's not
7970.
really a good thing to do. If there's anything that's actually
Los Angeles Center, November 7970, with you, flight level
when I go
190.
beyond that, yeah, I got really check
November
in and start
7970,
editing the
Los
things.
Angeles Center,
Take
Roger.
what you want and you
Southwest
can make your own.
3948. Contact Los Angeles Center on 125.8. Southwest 302. Contact Los Angeles Center on 127.1. Going at 127.1. Southwest 302. Going at
I'm looking
125.8.
purposely out a little bit to look out at. I thought I was going to be looking at frame rate, but this there is a lot of those. Now those, this is just photoreal. So at this level, who needs it, right? It would be taking away frames, and it would be flash. Some buildings still flash, and some they have the free DX10 cleaner fixer, which really fixes most things that even the payroll does, but it doesn't fix it all. There's some things that it doesn't, and buildings are. Free scenery buildings are what it doesn't. And some of them are fine, but some of them are flat still.
Los Angeles Center, Southwest 3762 is out of flight level 212, flight level 200. Southwest
Steve's DX10
376
fixer,
Los Angeles Center, Roger.
I'll bet you he can't cover. He can't do anything about somebody putting out a new piece of, I wouldn't think, a new piece of scenery that had improper texture on it. Unless he goes through and has, I don't know, I don't have it, unless he has some manual that says, oh, we add some more, rerun this, and it'll go back through and fix them all. I'm sure if that's good. It works or not. He wants a nice chunk of money for that little, for something that none of us should have to worry about in the first place. But he's the genius that went and fixed it for everybody, so he deserves money for that. Since this is such a small
Hey,
market.
Captain. How's about you and me go to a nice restaurant with the man? I'd love some prime rib. I'm sure you would too.
Basic. I want to say thank you to him for that, because this poor old guy can't afford to get. Might be able to, in the future, finally have a lot of debt paid off, but now I need more income. Because at the same time I get all the debt paid off, the income went away. That's special, just my luck. Just about to finally, start being able to save some money for myself and send my job overseas. Thank you very much, Congress.
Southwest 3762, turn left heading 185.
They're yachts.
Turn left heading 185, Southwest 3762.
$30,000 kitchen tables. All of us many of us that got laid off because of this were struggling to get a bowl of cereal on the floor. you know, there'd be airports that just come with, no, that's not default. That is still just that's where you get duplicates a lot. That is some efforts that Blue Sky Scenery did with a lot of, you know, by adding at least basic, he just uses default buildings and stuff, but he's still working on it, made him better than just a strip that probably would be there. And so that's what I learned, that when I get a specific airport, that 9 times out of 10 or whatever, a certain percentage of them, I need to go and get rid of that one. It came with Blue Sky Scenery.
Southwest 3762.
And so would you if you had it. Beware of that.
8.65. Going to 128.65. Southwest 3762.
What's that KMO? Is that KMO? No, that's Point Magoo. Yeah. And I have an N off the Point Magoo. Probably reminds me next time I do it. Beware of that. Hey, there's a
374,
did you see them on AI? Oh, AI. We're supposed to talk about AI, wasn't I? Okay, I don't know if I have time to talk about that. We're getting close. Yeah, maybe we got a little more time. Most people don't know where the traffic file, default traffic file exists, and where many add-ons put additional traffic files. So let me say this, it's in Scenery World Scenery, and some people put traffic files in with the scenery that you get, and it will actually be a traffic file inside of the scenery folder, which tells you that you can have AI traffic in as an add-on scenery under a scenery folder, just like any other scenery. And I have found it, and some other guy, another video, turned me on to that. And once you're aware of that, if you stay organized.
November 7970, contact Los Angeles Center on 125.8. Point 125.8, November 7970.
I now have 3 new scenery, add-on sceneries under my add-on sceneries. AI ships, AI boat, AI ships, AI military, and AI airplanes, even though I haven't really gotten anything under the military yet. I'm just anticipating it or whatever. I'm just going to get some, and I just haven't bothered yet. So, first of all, as I've told you, I turned off that traffic file and I just turned them off by, I moved all traffic over there. I keep an eyeball on default, making sure anybody's putting underneath there, but I move it. That way you can enable or disable your AI traffic at will. And it's much easier to troubleshoot.
Maintain 1,800 until established. Tower on 133.9er, United 1239er.
But of course, you know, you could end up with duplicates. You have to know your stuff. You want to make sure you didn't move it over and then move one over that's actually got the same, and then, you know, install a scenery that has one, and then maybe it upgrades and puts it back. You know, be careful about that stuff, I think, just like anything else. So I have found it to be very beneficial in getting rid of the white planes. That's the other issue with AI. White planes being that many AI builders from the past and world of AI. At first, always, you know, at one point I had just installed all kinds of things I wanted. And it's like, then it was cool. And then one day you run in DX10 mode, you know, and you're trying to actually move to that because you know the fixes are in and it's no longer just a preview mode. One day you see, you go to that mode and you go, all these planes around are all white, the textures are all gone. And that's because, you know, something without getting into detail, you know, these, a lot of these World of AI planes that these guys did that matches that actually give you the AI plane for the traffic have done this with a conversion. We did not do it with the FSX SDK, they did it with the FS9 SDK, and they never bothered. And even though they run, and they run in at DX9 mode fine, the textures don't show, so they're all white in DX10. So what I'm doing now is I've realized that all people should realize that depending on the power of your machine, especially if you don't have that much power, you really got to be careful of not loading up, getting some package that just puts all kinds of traffic out there. It's going to cause you frame rate issues, and you're going to be bogged down. So, and mine is especially true with that case, right? Because it's so old. So I'm just imagining now what would be right now if I had the default traffic going on. It'd be more traffic.
November 7970, contact Los Angeles Center on 132.85.
It could end up being too much. The biggest reason I don't want the default is planes, bad routes, planes flying, landing on top of each other. It's all just so what I've done since right now, a little secret of kind of, you know, you can, since I've identified that even if I uninstall the traffic that the demo, most of this traffic is coming from the orbit demo of the Pacific Northwest and Australia, and they give you a little bit of this traffic. And first they throw the airplanes. Also the airplanes, they throw the airplanes and regular sim-optic airplanes. I have moved all those to the miscellaneous just to keep my airplanes folder to be real airplanes and not all the AI, because it's just like, oh man, I want to do something in an airplane. It's like just loads and loads of AI aircraft in there. You can move those too into the miscellaneous folder under sim objects, and that's where they are in mine, and you can see that they are still working. So the traffic is not in the default traffic, and the planes aren't in the default area that people put. And back to the white plane issue, AIG is a Alpha India group. What I did was, and when I was cleaning things up, was I just went in and got rid of everything first. It's like, I gotta start over because I just, I didn't know about this exactly before when I started doing it. So I pretty much uninstalled everything, and then I went back out to to World of AI, and I only took planes that literally had the FSX compatibility instead of the other ones, because I'm just, I'm going to hold out for planes that work with DX10. And I put the other ones, it's not like they're gone, I just moved them out where I could move them back in if one day I wanted to do anything with DX10. they're not gone. They're just
Going
outside of
124.65,
FSX way.
Southwest 565, Los Angeles Center, Southwest
So
565.
that way I was like, okay, now I'm all clean. Now let's just go in, and I just chose the ones that specifically said that they were FSX. Well, even in there, some of those packages have AIG India group. So far, that's all I'm seeing that I have a problem with. They still have some planes from AIG, which are saying, yeah, sure, they're FSX, but they're not really they're not FSX-DX10. And so the package that had those, I'm literally, and I've already done it, and I've tested with 2 of them. There are still a couple out there right now. But as I identified them, and I said, so that, you know, the red thing would come over here, you can see their text above there. Identified those planes, and I will do it with any other group. I've just found that AIG group, that's almost everything they do. It's just an old 2004 plane, or DX9 only. That's DX9 only compatible. So finally, the final thing is just remove it. I just go in there and remove the plane, and just so I think, I don't know what the real code effect is, but I know that it's not hurting. It may be that there really is still a plane, so that could cause, I suppose, a problem if they're still there. I don't think it is, though, because the traffic files the route and the plane is, so the plane's gone. If the plane is gone, then the routes, I don't know, you know, technically I don't know if the route still thinks the plane's there, but it's invisible to us, to me, right, or us. There's Long Beach. Just take a look at Long Beach. Long Beach, somebody did a really good job on the Long Beach airport, but I also don't have that active, yeah, down below here.
Los Angeles
There it
Center,
is.
Southwest 504.
That's just whatever.
Southwest 504. Los Angeles Center,
Whatever
Roger.
blue sky scenery is, but there it's not. But that thing is loaded up with more stuff. It's interesting when you go down there if you're flying a small plane and you're interested in that in detail.
1027 now, runway 1 right, line up and wait.
Anyway, so yeah, back to the AI thing. So far, it's worked out. I go even on this video, this particular one, on my first attempt, it's like, oh, there's a white plane, so, and they all turned out to be AIG. So I just went and moved the planes out. So there may be, who knows, is there someone, you know, I don't know if there's really the system thinks there's an object there. There looks like I haven't moved them all out, but there's 2 still in there. I only did one at a time. Every time you make changes or do anything, you only pretty much do one at a time until I'm super comfortable. So that was, and this has been, this video is actually in flight as part of that test. Sure enough, it's just working fine. It's not crashing or anything. And I know that when we took off, every time I took off, initially there were these little white planes.
Your speedboat.
So, hopefully for the few people who take the time to check video, that helps you all with some knowledge about AI
Turn left heading 135, descend and maintain flight level 230. Expect vectors ILS. Runway 9er.
If I see another white one from anybody, I'm just going to go take the plane out. Of course, if you want it, you know, if you want it, then you're going to have to get really technical on how you're going to edit a model for it. Not worth it. People will be, it's just not worth it anymore. But I've got plenty of energy, but I want some more, but even with just these, like I say, that's a, when you understand that, see, now I know that I can keep this traffic will always work, even if I install the orbit demo,
Expect vectors ILS. Runway 9 approach. November 7970. November 7970. Contact
to
Los
where
Angeles
I
Center
needed.
on
And so I said, well, I don't like this demo. You just wiped out.
134.575.
You just lost the traffic log.
134.575. November 7970.
Actually, I'm not so sure. I'm still looking at the demo, and I'm not so sure. I got it in quite a while ago, and I'm just doing other things. I finally, the other day, actually took a trip in Iceland to the Iceland part of Intl demo, which has brought up a whole plethora of questions and concerns for me. So just leave it at that for now. Not getting rid of it, just not. I can say as a tip that it does appear to be quite that a lot of people, even people with faster machines, I don't think they have as fast machines as they think. I think people with 960s and above don't complain. People who don't have a 960 or above are complaining that they just have horrible frame rates, and I've seen it. There's people commenting on this on the Steam forums. They have horrible frame rates with the Orbix, and they're blaming FSX for being a terrible program and all that. It's just a lot to this program you don't understand. But that may be, and this is my mission at some point when I get back to it, to decide whether Orbix is just too much for any GPU that's below a 960. I got these two 770s in SLI mode, and it was horrible in Iceland, and there wasn't that much going on. Well, whatever, it was whatever. It was one default airport of theirs, or one airport of theirs, and yeah, I'm getting like 5 frames per second. And sometimes, I don't want to ditch them because there could have been at this point, I only like to say I could have had other issues going on. And I haven't really gone to totally verify, but I kind of suspect that they're going to be too much. That Orbix would not be a good buy for me, in other words. And thanks for the demo, because that's going to prove it or not.
Southwest 504. Descend and maintain 13,000.
But it was not to say, but I have to absolutely prove it, because you can't say that it wouldn't be it in a combination with some other add-on I have. I have all the JEX AutoGen, which I think they talk about being potentially not compatible with it.
Los Angeles Center, American 488 is at 8,900, climbing 11,000. American 48.
I can't really talk in detail about that. It's just because it's totally new to me, and there's nothing really solidified in actual knowledge, like the top things that weren't true. Those are kind of some of the issues you want to deal with. You can't blame them completely off the bat. It could be something that you just need to do to get out of its way.
Going at 126.35.
The JEX may not even be bothering. I just said that, but it may not be really true that it's bothering it. People have complained, or I was kind of noticing the same thing. I was wanting to fly. First of all, I did have an issue where everybody talks about it being the entire Iceland, and mine looked like from overhead that it was only like half of it.
Southwest 3517.
So that's when I started to wonder whether JEX textures would cause maybe there's another reason why I only seem to have half of it. Definitely not the entire continent or whatever it is, country is not covered with that. It's that demo that says it does.
Southwest 504. Turn right heading 165. Turn right heading 165. Southwest 50 warp.
So that'll be a subject in a flight for another video, because I try to mix knowledge and learning with flights.
Southwest 504. Turn left heading 13.
So I have gotten off track here because I should have been talking about what I'm doing.
Southwest
I'm
504.
paying attention here to. I was thinking, well, I did start to say how at this point I have done what I said earlier. Right? And now that I yeah, I've just been following what the ATC wants to do, and not just running on the line up. There it goes right there. Right? Not just running the GPS flight plan straight in. Oh, I really should have been shut up before about that AI because now I'm behind what we're doing here. We have got planes in front of us. I did this once. I'm not for this video, but some other time I did a San Diego, or I did this a similar run like this. I don't know if it was the same exact plan or not. But there's a lot of traffic over here. Planes can get in your way. I think I had to do a
Turn left. 090. November
keystroke there.
7970.
Oops.
Los Angeles Center, Southwest 504 is at
To do
1,400.
Go
check.
right.
Southwest 504, Los Angeles Center, Roger. Altimeter 29997.
What? Okay, just a minute. I'm sorry about getting tracker. I'm not sure. Oh, obviously, yeah. Okay, I see. I did. I am following his. I'm using header of the autopilot heading right now. I think, right? Is that what happened while I wasn't looking?
Yeah, ding dong again, it's me again. Just letting y'all know we're gonna be heading down towards our destination. Should be there pretty soon unless Knucklehead here does something stupid.
Hey. Watch it there, CoPilot. RedNeck CoPilot. You just call me something. You just call me names. Alright, we have no signal for ILS-09.
Southwest 504.
Yet we're not quite close.
Descend and maintain 7,000.
I don't want to activate. No, I don't even want to activate anyway. At this point, I don't activate approach yet. I just keep eyeballing it.
7970. Contact SoCal approach on 127.3. 127.3 for November 7970.
I'm going to see what I can do about fixing. They say something about this is not really accurate ATC wave. There's a fix for that. I actually fixed all the call signs. I have 10 more call signs. Program reads all of your stuff and adds all the call signs.
Altimeter 2998, set and check.
And I could have swore I had it saying northwest.
Hey, we're just passing 10,000 now.
Instead of N. I'm feeling like both now and then, I think, that I'm like really too high. Yeah, obviously I did. So we're going down a little faster here.
Southwest 504 is out of 10,600.
I don't want to come in too fast.
Southwest 504, SoCal approach.
It's like, just slow down.
SoCal departure, Delta 166.
I have switched over to nav to be ready for the radio.
7970. Descend and maintain 2000. Delta 1662.
I just trust the radio nav better. I could have explained it better when I had it, you know, when it freshly was.
Delta 1662. Turn left heading 065. Resume on navigation. Climb and maintain 7000. Turn left heading 065. The
GPS doesn't actually have the same GPS I was to say forget ILS, keep it on GPS and use the GPS approach, which you wouldn't want to do this page. I have done it, go down and be a couple of feet off the left. At the airport because of some technical reason.
SoCal approach, Southwest 711 is out of 11,250,000. Southwest 711, SoCal approach, roger, altimeter.
So that could become a,
November 7970, please expedite your descent to 2000. November 7970, turn right, heading 155, descend and maintain 2000.
I did experiments and so on.
Turn right, heading 155, descend and maintain 2000.
Heading.
Go around, go back onto ILS, take the ILS approach instead so you get the radio. Use it to go in because the radio's obviously. Unless somebody made a real error on their airport, right? I think some of it has to do with elevation. I don't want to know. At least I thought for a while. So, well, maybe it's because of, you know, the elevation fixes of Freemesh X. Why did you put that in my credits too? I think I'm giving Freemesh X credit, am I?
November 7970.
Oh, 1 to the
turn
north,
right,
clear.
heading 180.
Plateau relocation approved.
Turn right, heading 180. November 7970.
Heading 180. Set and check.
I had the radio on, the audio on the radio on to be able to tell when we're coming up there. And there it is. See, we have a signal now. Frequency 155. Now I'm ready to activate it, right? But yeah, I'm ready to activate it. So we all know it's all ready to go. I know I'm there, so I'm turning it off because it becomes really annoying. Sorry if anybody is, I'm going to try again. It's been a little while. If anybody's been come in and chat and had any questions or said hello, and I'm sounding rude like I'm not paying attention, that's because I'm not, because I'm having problems with my telephone being able to watch the video and watch the chat, monitor the chat.
Southwest 504. Turn right, heading 150.
Turn right, heading 150. Southwest 504.
I'm at 354
Now right now it's going and working fine.
35 landing 170.
Southwest 156, SoCal approach, roger, altimeter 29999. Southwest 504. Turn right, heading 180.
Okay, I'm on it again. I should be able to see.
Turn right, heading 180.
It's working again. I should be able to see if anybody's here.
Southwest 504. Descend and
Probably
maintain
not most of
2000.
you do show up. Are usually not on this time because you probably were up late doing your thing and you're all sleeping.
November 7970. You are 22 miles northwest. Turn left, heading 125. Descend and maintain 2000. Cleared ILS. Runway 9er. Approach. Maintain 2000
Heading
until established on the localizer.
125. Set and check.
San Diego Tower on 118.3. Turn left, heading 125. Descend and maintain 2000. Cleared ILS. Runway 9er. Approach. Maintain 2000 until established. Tower on 118.3.
Now, what do you use a different plane?
7970.
Try to change it up. I'm actually thinking of maybe next time of a trick to fool FSPassengers and at least get a different skin.
91, push off Dowson 3. KX391 on the ground, push back
for another
approach,
flight, maybe the
runway
same plane,
1 to
but
left.
as American Airlines or something. But I have to do some fooling and see if it works. Fool it with it by changing the names in the aircraft config.
Southwest 711.
2,500.
My point is I can't. This is the biggest plane I own, and I can't. You can't change it unless you. I mean, I can't afford it. I just showed it earlier, though, or I'm gonna show you the cost of the airplane here in a little bit. But you have to earn them in this career mode that I'm in. I haven't bothered to learn or to start another one. I just really wanted to do it right and in detail. I actually started this career out with only being able to have a Cessna. I had to do a bunch of flights.
Maintain 2000 until established on the local line. Contact San Diego Tower 118.9.
A bigger prop plane with some passengers, like 7 or 8, and up to 14.
Maintain 2000 until established. Tower on 118.3, Southwest 504.
Really didn't expect to go have all this. It's typical. It's still morning. It's like morning mist, morning clouds. We're going in. That's for sure. Can't see a thing. And I got surprised by that. But you need to be surprised. If I was a good pilot, I would know exactly what the weather was going to be. I just got warned that
SoCal approach Southwest 667 is out of 2,300. 2,000.
Okay, here we go, folks.
67 SoCal approach. Roger. Altimeter 29908. Southwest 156. Turn right heading 255. Turn right heading 255. Southwest 156.
1802, time departure. 1802, time.
I have noticed another problem with this plane, and I think it's with the plane, but maybe it's sometimes FS Passenger throws you a curve. To be aware of that, it can throw you a curve, and you can. It will occasionally create failures.
4 miles at 6,900. Boeing 737. Report them in sight.
Noticed before, but we've got a low pressure oil
at 5,500. Boeing 737. Report them in sight. Southwest 156. Contact SoCal approach on
It's at 95, the other ones are 116. I don't know if it's FS Passengers messing with the plane, or it's an error in the plane at this point. I suppose I need to go and look at the plane on free flight without anything going on. But I was kind of scared that I think it is the plane because it didn't. I've seen it in different multiple flights. I was concerned with that light on.
Companies join the box ahead about your 1 o'clock and 6 miles 2,000. Company demo indicating
It
R90.
hasn't caused us an issue. I wonder how many people noticed that way before I went, dude, you got a problem. Oh, I'm just adding a little bit more feet.
Flight attendants, prepare for landing, please.
Oh boy. Good. Seatbelts on. There's also, I can't get my thing together.
Head 391, turn right to the Kissimmee intersection. Right direct Kissimmee, Texas 3. Thank you.
Pull up.
We just lost 200. Well, that's,
up.
no, that's normal. They'll do that. It's like, no, shut up. for landing. Except for I'm going way too fast and I'm going down. We are already, I'm not right. Look at the Ys, we are above the glide slope.
Departure radar contact, line maintain 15.
That's when I'm trying to get down. What did I do? We're still on approach though. It's like messing with the speed. Gotta get the speed off.
Don't sink.
This is something that
Don't
I
sink.
needed, that I didn't do here.
Don't sink.
I usually try to get off
Don't
of
sink.
automatic speed and make sure I'm
Don't sink.
flying
Glide
at
slope.
Don't sink.
Man, you're gonna make some old lady miss.
Don't
Glide
sink.
slope.
There.
so that if once you cut it off,
Glide slope.
you're not
500.
out of whack somewhere.
Glide slope. Glide slope.
And
Don't
here we
sink.
go, folks.
400.
Here's what happens.
Don't sink.
Glide slope.
When you stall.
Don't sink.
Glide slope.
Don't sink.
Pull up.
Don't
Glide
sink.
slope. Pull up.
And if you hear the passengers start to scream or not, but if we would have had a little more of a bigger fall, those passengers will scream to high heaven. So here's what happens. There's my surprise. Here's what happens when you crash. And I wanted to keep this in here because, you know, hey, everybody's always just doing flights that you do, and we're going to go back and do this right. But there's what happens when you have terror and grief. Highly entertained by the movie. Here's your synopsis. But we take into account the state of the aircraft and its current resale value, blah, blah. They sell the plane, insurance to pay the damages, and we're terrified by the last dive before the crash. Didn't understand why they were required to keep their seatbelts on even after reaching cruise level. That'll happen even if you don't catch it right away. It's like, darn, dagnabbit, I did it, but probably just a little bit too late or something. It's not exactly that close, but I mean, it has to be pretty close to the time you reach there, let their guys go. We're pleased by the music on the ground, but we just died, and 184%. I just lost all this. Crashed at 810, grounded at 113 knots with a vertical speed of blah 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 blah. Got penalty points. In memory of the pilot who died, these penalty points will not be. So what do you do in that case? You what do you do? Oh, I canceled the flight because I don't want it to go on my record. Canceled the flight and moved on. So let's try that again. We're not going to do the whole flight because obviously it's long, but I'm going to show us doing it right again. Let's try that again. So now we're going to get to see both. There's your unsuccessful one. I kind of wish that I would have. I obviously just really blew it there. Was not prepared, and in fact, I got interrupted in one calling from the site that just opened the door and started asking her to do things, and I was like, are you kidding me? You have perfectly bad timing. And I look around, I'm just now so far behind, so obviously we lost it. So I started it over. I'm not gonna, and yet everything else was so good with that flight, I just didn't want to, be a cheater. I didn't want to do the whole thing over again and not have all the goodness that was the flight up to that point. So we are not starting completely over. We're starting just before, we're going to get organized. So let me see what's going on.
November 752
that never happened. And we're ready to maintain. They're telling us to go up to 2,000.
November 7526.
Altitude 020, 7 and check.
And again, checking, it's like, okay, you're not going to get down to 2,000. Where are we now? I wish that was in cockpit view.
November 7526, contact SoCal approach on 127.3. 127.3, November 7526.
Anyway, yeah, I have been in situations before where I feel like was gonna show that I wished it was really on purpose, because if you really are having a hard time, like let's say if I was much higher and take a big dive down in the plane, the first time it happened and they all screamed, like, I didn't expect that they would do it that way, and it scared the heck out of me.
Altimeter 2997, set and check.
So we're going to start our descent fresh. We need one. Screw.
SoCal approach southwest 1979er is out of 11,900 for 6,000. Southwest 1979er, SoCal approach, roger, altimeter 299er east.
With a flashing nuclear thing, there's an unfixed building. That is the same effect that airports do before the fix. Runways do. Not all of them, but a lot of them. That's what people experience with the early preview mode. And obviously, even after the free shader fix mode. And I don't know if that would be fixed again with the payware Steve's shader fix. I would imagine not, but I'll bet he has, at least maybe not by default. Maybe if you get really technical with this program, has a way of telling you how to fix that for each individual. I don't really know because I don't know. Didn't look like it on the demos. It looks like you either turn this stuff on or not. Yeah. And I was gandering at the plane, make sure it was not a white one.
November 7526, turn right, heading 155, descend and maintain 2000.
If it was, I would have identified it, taken note, and delete it.
Turn right, heading 155, descend and maintain 2000. November 7526.
Heading 155, set and check.
November 7526, turn right, heading 185. Turn right, heading 185. November 7526.
9. Heading 185, set and check.
You have so much time to enter those
SoCal
things.
approach, southwest 217 is out of 11,700, 4,300. Southwest 217, SoCal approach, roger, altimeter 299er east.
And a note for both of me and myself. We're now running vertical sync in fast mode, fast or smooth mode. In this mode, and I'm seeing whether I get better behavior or not, and our frame rate drops. But don't get frame rate drops, this is a better, obviously going to produce better
Southwest 3225, SoCal, approach, roger, altimeter 2900.
results. So instead of being in adaptive half refresh rate, you're in full on fast mode, where, but not just on, if it's on, it's a different thing. This particular mode lets the GPUs go just as fast as they want, but will drop any frames that it creates that are above the refresh rate. To avoid thinking, well, that's just an extra little steel tear. If it runs behind, no, that's just what it'll do. It drops the frame, and in that case, there's no, there's no need for those.
2,500.
That's why you get tearing if they go. If it's on regular mode, and it just goes like a bat out of hell. It will tear because the GPUs are writing more screen over the top when the monitor itself was not able to draw it in the same timing. Now I'm wondering here, why are they all upset? Well, they will do that, and they're making all our passengers are freaking out, but just because of turbulence. Okay. Seatbelts on, nothing we can do about that. So give another drink.
Altimeter. Southwest 217, turn left heading 210. Turn left heading 210.
Careful this time. Let's land this thing without crashing, huh? And that's why I want to get off of. I want to start managing my speed myself. Maybe not quite yet.
Southwest 217, turn left heading 180. Turn left heading 180. Southwest 217.
Sometimes it's a matter of just earlier getting on with
November
getting close
75263 miles northwest, turn left heading 125, climb and maintain 2000. Cleared ILS. Runway 9er, approach, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer. Contact San Diego Tower on 118.3. Turn left heading 125, climb and maintain 2000. Cleared ILS. Runway 9er, approach, maintain 2000 until established. Tower on 118.3, November 7526. Southwest 3225, turn right heading 255. Southwest 217.
at this point I'm saying, they may be telling me to go to 125, but I'm just staying on approach. Okay, because approach should be bringing me close to what they're actually talking about anyway. If it's to do its thing, it should be turning that way. That's why, like, even at the beginning of the flight, they could be telling you, go this and that way. It's just until things get in sync within seconds, you can just kind of ignore the, get on your route, because your route's going to be in that direction. Or they'll be, maybe not that direction, or they'll be right back telling you in a second, oh yeah, go ahead and do your own thing. Right after they just identified you and told you to go a certain direction. It just happened one after the other.
San Diego Tower, November 7526, is 20 miles west, inbound ILS, runway 9, approach, November 7526, San Diego Tower, take straight in, runway 9er, altimeter 2997.
What did CoPilot just say?
Take straight in, runway 9er, November 7526.
Careful there, I don't want to go too fast. What are we doing? 2,000. We should still be just cruising. Not cruising. That don't look right. Oh, look, I still haven't fixed that. I'm just trying to show there's the lever line on and off. Turn off the green prototype. Pointing out, like I pointed out earlier, see that is wrong. That horizontal setting was. It's not like it hurts anything, it's just an indicator of where we're at, but I'm gonna fix it for a second. This is where I finally woke up. The fact that I had chosen
San Diego Tower, southwest 1979er is 14 miles west inbound ILS, runway niner approach. Southwest 1979er, San Diego Tower, fly straight in, runway niner, altimeter 299er.
The real thing would be confusing is going
Main Street,
to go to the
runway
left,
niner,
you go to the
southwest
right,
1979er.
no, you don't. Your settings wrong. That's the scary thing about computers, man. But people put the wrong thing in computers in an airplane, and pilots just going off what the computer goes, or somehow for some reason it calculates something wrong. Pilots just trusting it, and you're gone, before you know it. So yeah, I finally like, well, wait a minute. It's like, runway 9, I was thinking, well, it could be 13 because, it's like off there, but it's 9 for 90 degrees, not for 0 9 degrees. But couldn't worry about that right now. Now it's like managing the speed, getting awfully close in there. Oh, I guess I'm not really worrying about that either. But who cares if that's off as long as I'm on the glide? The vertical one, we're getting close. As soon as you hit that line, look at that, the vertical glide slope line.
Southwest 1979er, cleared to land, runway niner. Cleared to land, runway niner. Southwest 1979er. November 7526, cleared to land, runway niner. Followed Boeing 737.
Yeah, we're too high. Glide slope's getting below us. We can't see anything out. I'm realizing I'm too high. So,
cleared to land, runway niner.
But the system seems to be pulling us right. Actually, the approach is taking hold. And I'm still using oh, look at that plane down there. Did you see that? There's a plane within feet of us. We have had a real problem here with ATC pulling us all in at the same time, or something. Because if I look behind us, there's a plane right behind us. Look at it. Look, it's on the GPS. It's right there below us, and it's within feet of us. This would be an accident. There's no doubt in real life. Most likely would be an accident. That would have been an air collision in the air. And I'm seeing it, but they're not calling it. And I'm going, well, you know, I guess
500,
guess
400.
this guy's going to ram into us once we land. He's just going to ram us, you know that. Seem to be on the glide
Approaching
slope well.
minimums.
I don't know why I'm still on that. I should have gotten rid of that.
Approaching minimums.
November 75.
Yeah, get rid of the speed, everything on. Oh, now he tells us to go around. Now he tells us to go around. Great. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to. We just crashed once. I don't want to. I don't need to show the sample crash report again.
November 7526. Did you hear my last transmission?
So we have a legitimate reason
Going
to
around
actually
November 7526.
do a go around here in San Diego.
November 7526. Contact SoCal approach on 127.3.
Oh, wait. No, that's American Airlines. See, that guy was right behind. He was right on us. That was really kind of cool.
127.3. November 7526. Southwest 197 exit runway when able.
Bad ATC. What were you doing? What were they thinking? Bringing us in there. Oh, you're free. Come on in. There's this plane right behind you. Or actually right in front of you. I think because I was going too fast. But they had planned, like I said, experiences before. They had planned it. I was supposed to be behind him, though. What happened here was I was going too fast and passed him up, and he became second there. So now, I was trying to get on track and go, oh, here's your go around path. Why am I? So you got me.
Altitude 0.
I'm confused here as to whether stay on approach.
Altitude 0. 50. Set and check.
That's why I took it off, because it was turning us around.
November 7526.
And they're directing us, so it's like, okay, just listen to that.
Contact SoCal approach on 127.3.
If I'm going to do anything on a pilot. Let's go 270, so turn it on.
Point 127.3, November 7526.
Oh, I'm not turning it on because, you know, because I'm thinking that that the GPS approach is active, and I'm not seeing that. Yeah, look, so I'm gonna, but it's not active because I'm on the nav button. So whatever it's saying.
SoCal approach, November 7526, is climbing through 2,100 for 5,000.
Even though it's
November
active
7526, SoCal approach, Roger, altimeter 2999er.
We're not connected to that. So why am I not? Yeah, right here. I'm just kind of looking at that route there to go around. Oh, and I'm trying to. Here I'm turning on one. Oh, we're turning on strobe.
November 7526, please expedite your turn to heading 270.
Well, we're
2,500.
there. You need to just knock it off. I was thinking that I was getting the system to actually follow that.
2,500.
You know, the lines there. That's supposed to be the go around. But in reality, I wasn't. We're just free flying. That general direction. Doesn't matter that it's activated. Now it does. That's why I'm going to see. Okay, if I put it on there, what's it going to do? Yeah, what's it going to do? We're going to follow them. It's going to follow the path. Well, I think it is, but since we're that close to it, it's
Point for November 7526.
But I worry about it. GPS approach is like, well, what if it thinks it's ready to fix up on that radio?
7526. D1 approach. Roger. Altimeter 2 9er.
Need to go to 5 white. Oh, I don't have altitude. I'm like free flying all over the night now. I'm thinking approach is doing something, but it doesn't.
Contact SoCal approach on 127.3. 127.3. November 7.
Yeah, with approach on, why isn't it? It's just sitting there at 3440. You would think with approach on, which it shouldn't be.
Altimeter 2 9 and check.
I was thinking that it would be following that approach line. That's incorrect. And it's just by chance here because look, auto throttle is show. Boy, I could have been in a lot of trouble here.
Landing gear's up.
Deciding to kind of get reset on all this. You got to reset, go around. Yeah, and what I'm not realizing here, I'm not realizing that something is not right. Well, I think I'm realizing it, but I'm still trying to figure out why. And what? Which in reality, it would have been
The
time
gear
to
is down.
fly the plane yourself. I'm just a little indecisive here. Keep the gear down. It doesn't matter. You can fly with your. Well, you're not going too fast. You can fly with your flaps and your gear out. Just not good if you get over speed.
$2,500.
$2,500. It's like, oh man, how come so much is going wrong? We don't want a second crash here. This thing, it is. It's taking. That's where I was stuck. It's on. Thinks it's on approach in the wrong area. We are not there. Even though it's on the ILS 09, I'm going. What the heck are we doing? Going down, taking it down, taking us down. It is taking us down based on a radio signal, or based on the GPS approach. Taking us down. We're at 700 feet. We're going to crash again. Passengers a little scared up there. 40% scared. And they should be. Because look, here come the ground. But it's like, what the hell? Altitude. Altitude.
500.
Forget approach.
400.
400. We're not.
Approaching minimums.
That is what scares me sometimes about this GPS. So, you know. But of course, what was I doing on approach anyway? What was I doing with that approach light on? It shouldn't have had it at all. I'm thinking wrong. I'm thinking like, oh, that's the approach path and it's just going to follow it. It's like, no, wrong. I just pulled this out. Dying again. Really. And barely in time, obviously. We were just about to. Well, we've crashed once. We've had to do a go around. Then almost just crashed again. But somebody say, I'm going to be the redneck, but somebody start saying prayers back there. We get this idiot pilot, get us out of the sky. It's like he said, unless this guy does something stupid, which he certainly did. It's like, okay, come on. Yeah, it was just somehow my head got all screwed up. He was sitting there looking for it. I don't know why he did that though, still. It just didn't seem right. It just seemed like, I just thought that if you stayed on approach, you weren't there, that it would take us around. It would just go, oh, okay, I'm going to head for the proper approach. Like it knew the flight plan or something, so I got obviously some learning to do. Lucky I had enough awareness to pull us out of that one.
SoCal approach, November 7526 is at 4,700, climbing 5,000. November 7526, SoCal approach, roger, altimeter 299 feet.
Altimeter 298, set and check.
November 7526, contact SoCal approach on 125.15. 125.15. November 7526.
Disappointed when you're not looking around.
SoCal approach, November 7526 with you. November 7526, SoCal approach. Roger. Altimeter 2998.
So, I'm playing around trying to get good views. It's like, let's land this thing. That movie goes. We're still getting signal. Making sure we're getting signal because I'm going in nav. Not using that GPS. Going in with the radio. I mean, I would think that it's the same thing as the GPS. You've set it to get it off that radio, so it should all be the same. But I don't think it is. I guess it isn't, because otherwise it wouldn't have a selector for an ILS-09 or a GPS-09. So we need to know about the details of that difference. Anybody know it? Leave in the comments, please.
Turn left heading 240.
Heading 240. Set and check.
Turn left heading 240. November 7526.
Don't want to piss off the ATC. So we'll just follow their instructions for a little while here. Back to standard procedures. Follow ATC's instructions and change to approach when you actually get close enough. May tell you that you're free to go. That's where I thought before, when I'm thinking wrong, that you just leave it on approach. I'm just not sure whether I'm right about that. It's like, how would you? Is that just a reference, or I thought the plane would automatically, stay on that, maybe, or there's a way to make it actually follow that path. But, I forget. Never fix that horizontal yet, did I? I was trying to make sure landing heights from the line. I gotta look around. But I've got a minute. Inside the cockpit view for darn long there. Nothing wrong with that, though. Just run the entire video inside the cockpit. Don't get slow, don't get stalling it.
Altimeter.
Don't bug me too much. We're almost done. And the cat wants treats. Sorry about that, Patrick. Every time we were just delayed just a little bit. Busy airport down there. Get in there without running over another plane. Yes, hello. All those helipads. Just pointing out
November 752,
the fixed
turn right, heading 335.
strobe thing.
Heading 335. Set and check.
I decided this time, what? I decided this time to show off the pan from the tower. You already talked about that.
November 7526, turn right, heading 005.
I guess I'm just trying to take a look at it from that side. Now those are old buildings.
Heading 00.
So there shows you that
Set and check.
that is got to be coming from Ray Smith's airport, because if it was default airport, it would be upgraded. It would be the newer buildings, HD buildings. Those are your old standard on the farm kind of buildings. So this upgrade airport at this point in time, obviously, you know, you probably only made it down here. Who knows how old that thing is. At this point, since I have a worldwide upgrade of all the airport buildings, that is going to be downgrade. I probably should take a good look at that and see whether it's actually looks better, or maybe it doesn't have all the default. Look and see if it looks better without it. It's like, okay, say goodbye to that thing. But I have a feeling there's a lot to other stuff. Lost. In a way, like, hey, I don't mind seeing some new buildings here and there. Can't believe how long this is actually taking just to do this second chance landing. That's why I said at the beginning about how, a lot of interesting things have happened here. Looks like I was deciding, I've already talked about it. That time was to talk about the oil pressure being bizarre on engine 3. We get a fire. I've never done it yet, but when I'm told those fire buttons actually are active. It's the only plane I know of that I have where they're actually active. There's some pictures of them. Do we try to set up a scenario where the fire goes off and
maintain 2000.
goes out?
November 752,
Altitude 020, set and check.
Descend and maintain 2000, cleared ILS, runway 9er, approach, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer. Contact San Diego Tower on 118.3.
Okay, here we go again. Yeah, look at that, plane. What are you gonna do? Get us in conflict with another one?
November 752, acknowledge last transmission. Turn right, heading 065, descend and maintain 2000, cleared ILS, runway 9, approach, maintain 2000 until established. Tower on 118.3, November 7526.
Like, slow down. Let that guy get in there. He's always going to go ahead. Let's make sure he gets in there before we get in there.
San Diego Tower, November 7526, altitude 1 miles west, inbound ILS, runway 9, approach. November 7526, San Diego Tower, fly straight in, runway 9er,
So we're going to see if the radio will grab us. Yeah, you should be going on beat. No. You're fine. It should be able to plane. There it goes. It's grabbing us. The radio has grabbed us. So maybe we'll be...
November 7526, did you hear my last transmission? Fly straight in, runway
2500.
November 7526. Delta 1662, contact SoCal departure on 127.3.
This plane
127.3, Delta 1662.
Slow. I can always slow up. Right now I'm suspicion of it saying you can always slow down pretty
San
fast.
Diego Tower, Southwest 3948, just 12 miles west, inbound ILS, runway 9er, approach. Southwest 3948, San Diego Tower, make straight in, runway 9er, altimeter 299er.
It should be, oh, now I'm noticing, look. Also, at the very end.
Southwest 3.
Now I'm noticing the horizontal thing is off and then it should be 93. It's actually at 93 degrees here, so fix it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I was always going, wait a minute, that's negative 13. Right. Done. Pilot. Make sure I'm stable before I mess with anything. I'm in control of the speed now. I'm actually running speed.
Southwest 3948, cleared to land, runway 9er.
That's too slow.
Cleared to land, runway 9er. Southwest 3948.
Again. one number to change. Change that to a 9, and then you have to pop it. It's really, is that not the strangest? Very strange interface. Goes across to each digit, then you have an N. Then you have to just keep clicking until it's But now, we're doing all that when in reality we're running on the nav, so it doesn't matter. But it's about looking. Now we see it. See the CDI needle just now is moved away because right next to us, so we are just left. We're not centered at this point. We're just left of the run. Glide slope is above us because we're what? We're at 2,000, and we're not in the green yet. We're in the LS marker, so we get closer to there. 2,000 should be matched up. I'm always like risk taking. Oh, we're the last minute here. Got a second. Let's look at the plane. Let's look at scenery. Yeah, right. Long time. Looks like, well, the plane's going straight. The car's going straight. The road's going straight. Oh, what the cow. Should come off by itself. The altitude hold right around the time we hit that.
Exit runway when able.
It's a little bit strange because it's showing the lights up underneath us. It went off by itself. It should be grabbing us. No, I don't want to be doing. Yeah, it is. I finally got it. But it looks like it's a little off. Something's a little off there. Why is that glide slope below us? Because we're actually high, but it's grabbing us, so it's doing it, not me. Wasn't me.
Southwest 38948, turn next taxiway. Southwest 38948, contact ground on 123.9er. 123.9er, Southwest 38948.
1,000.
Here we go, we can see, I can see the airport. I just wonder why that line thinks that, you know, that it was. Then they're saying that we're left of the. We're clearly right.
500.
You're going too slow.
Sync rate.
Okay.
400.
Your descent rate, man.
Take it
This
off.
ain't the Apollo 13.
Descent rate ain't Apollo 13. Okay, I'm like, forget it. Get off of the autopilot and land this thing.
Approaching minimums.
Sync rate.
Minimums.
Glide slope.
100.
Glide slope.
40. 20. 10.
go. There's a halfway.
Whoa, big fella. Whoa.
Hitting the not the after.
80 knots.
Both the speed brake and the reverse thrust. Reverse thrust at 60 knots.
That's 60
needs to be
knots.
turned off. Boom, F1 key. Turn it off. After you turn on it. No hidden keys, I shouldn't need it. So, we finally made it.
November 75286, turn next taxiway.
This check out that view right there where that hill is. It's actually blown
Hey
planes.
guys, it's me again. Y'all just hang tight till we get this, what's left of this thing pulled up to the gate here. Alright.
November 75286, contact ground on 123.9er. 123.9er. November
I think I'm doing a
75286.
mistake here, turning. Or I think I'm doing the right thing at the time, turning the landing lights off.
San Diego ground,
But
November
because we got
7526,
penalized.
taxi to the gate.
That's why I didn't talk about it when we saw the crash report.
Using taxiway
Or
Bravo
not the crash
4 Bravo.
report.
Taxi to the gate 35, using taxiway Bravo 4 Bravo.
In a
November
previous run,
7526.
I guess I've done this backwards. We get penalized for the landing lights and the strobe lights being wrong, being forgotten. Like, oh, now I see it. Yeah, I think it's below 10,000, and that they should be on. And I've turned them off, thinking they should be off because they should be off when you're taking off and you're on the ground. You're not supposed to have your landing lights on. Or wait a minute, everybody, just getting tired and confused about that. I think I am. I think I'm confused. I'm so confused. I'll be smart because I'm turning them off. I've turned them off, and I'm pretty sure we get in trouble for it. I get in trouble for it. Nice, love boat out there, or whatever, cruise ship. Total enough, right there. Oh, that was screen tearing right there. That was tearing. But very little and not for very long, so I think that was tearing. Something went a little weird there on the vertical sync. So that's an indication that potentially the fast mode. I thought I was supposed to drop frames. Oh, it drops frames when it has too many. If it's dropping below, probably drops below a certain rate or something, because that was the bottom texture coming through underneath the deal, so it couldn't draw the. It wasn't drawing the runway. Yeah, that was a little freaky. But hey, aviation is not an exact science, right? Oh yeah, little car. See, not even have all these fancy, radars that have supposedly all kinds of more stuff, but I don't mind it just this way. have to remember, especially in my case, anytime you know, these add-ons are, if somebody else has mentioned that in their some comments, and it was sort of true. They had a faster machine, so it was like, well, you know, so it was still, you know, like, why are you, you know, the Freeware add-ons just made it unflyable. Or they were horrible. I'm like, well, you know, that would be correct for anybody, I think, with as old a machine as I am, or that has a video card that's not a 960 or more. So underneath that 960, it's probably not going to do well with a lot of CN. It's just the realities of Flight Simulator. For those folks who just, they complain, it's like you just got to realize the reality of, even though this is 10-year-old technology, in a way, that's a simulator to simulator. It's actually, you know, very intensive video. And the more you add, one of the things you add, moving around, doing this and that it has to do, the more CPU and GPU power that you need. You know, sure, 10 years ago it ran, and they think, well, why wouldn't anything faster? Well, because, you know, do better. I mean, 10 years ago, and it still ran. Well, it would not have run 10 years ago like this. I mean, you know, your graphics were, it wouldn't have worked then either. Even if it's more, you know, you have more things for them to draw, they just wouldn't have worked. And back then, the same kind of, you know, suggestions about moving things down if you don't have a very powerful PC. And some of these people with a newer PC, they got an i5 or something, they think, oh, it should be fine. But it's not if you don't have it matched with a good bus speed and GPU to render that stuff. But look what I'm doing without it. You know, I am down there. And I would just say that I'm very aware that I'm not going to go get a bunch of some super high volume of traffic running around. You know, I have to compromise a little bit. And I'm pretty sure even with those other past machines besides the 1080s, there's even with the 1080s, probably, I mean, they have a lot more power. They're going to run into their limit too.
We've arrived at our destination. We hope you enjoyed giving us the visit, but we enjoyed taking you for a ride. Please take care of the overhead compartment, because after a landing like that, certainly everything should. Please be sure to take all your belongings, and if you're going to leave anything, please make sure it's something we'd like to have. We flight attendants get up real early and go to the airport so we can sign up for a flight with the most handsome pilot. And when you're departing the aircraft, look in the cockpit, you'll see that today, well, we just must late. Thanks for flying with us.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to ask that no broadcast turned off. Flight attendants, please prepare the aircraft for gate arrival.
Alrighty, then let's pull them up here and let's get up here and get these passengers off and get our report. See how we did. Cargo off. And hey, anybody who's been who has come out and, you know, glanced for a while or stuck out with me, thank you very much for showing up. And if you please, if you liked anything about the video, got anything out of it, learned anything out of the tip here or there,
Ladies and gentlemen, the The door
please
has now
give it
been
a
opened.
like.
As you make your way to the exit,
And if you
please
want
make
to
sure you
see
have all your personal items and
more,
carry-on
I don't
luggage.
bombard. Can't do this that often. A couple of months, couple of 3. Sometimes I can get quite a few in a month, but other times, like I think this is only my second one of this month. And it's the 20th, so hit the button for notifications, and you'll know when I got some things. And go ahead and check out some of the other videos, and leave me comments and things that you'd either like to see or like me to stop doing. Help me get better at this. Yeah. I always, anytime both some of you that are my subscribers that I visit your channels, I do watch your videos. Probably, and I'm actually starting to do more of watching that because I'm watching less of other stuff that's depressing, real world stuff. And I'm just saying, heck with it. Let's just, it's just what they want us to do. But anyway, I'm gonna have to. Anyways, see what this report looks like, and then we'll let everybody go. And hopefully, this all came out. Kind of a little scared because I was having issues with playback, and I'm just wondering whether it even got uploaded. And if you weren't on the live stream and if you watched afterwards, watched the recording, thank you very much for coming by and checking it out. I hope that this video and some of these new things, I probably forgot some stuff I want to remember afterwards, but I hope some of the things that Shift F1 to turn off your aircraft that I think a lot of people don't know about, or Control Shift F1, and about those saving in your saved flights, and understand how that will affect any new plane that you load. If you have it off and you think you've changed your plane, but you've got that flight open, that new plane is going to be off or on. If you've changed it before you started the actual flight. Say, like, you go in and you say, oh, I want to load this flight that I have, and it's got a 737-800, whatever. And it had the engine off when you saved it. If you go and change the airplane now, load a 747, it's not going to be on. It's going to be off based on the flight, and it applies the default flight to you're on. So that's how people who, some people prefer to have the plane off and dead, and some people prefer to have it. That and the AI stuff, I hope some of these things have been helpful. Some I know for you experts, that y'all know, you're like, we know that, Brett, I understand that. But this isn't for you. This is for people who are, they're always new people, and they have questions that we all know. And we got those answers from other people, so we're trying to help them in the same way. And get a little, and have some fun too. This was, I really liked, for a minute I was scared that my PC wasn't going to be doing better. It was getting weird. Some of the flights I've attempted to do, and it was like, I just had crummy things going on. But I really like what is going on in here. I think I'm going to, it's like every so often I think I have the best settings, and then you go, no, you try something else, and sometimes you can get it in a mess. Right now, I'm going to change the, I've decided, looking at that traffic out there, that It is day, and there would be busy air, a lot of traffic on the freeway, but it's a little bit thick and a little fast, and I'm just going to pop it down from 30 to 25. As long as it still looks pretty populated, that'll be slightly less and give me, without it being noticeably less, give me a little bit more processor power for other things.
Taxi 2 and hold short runway 9er, using taxiway Bravo, Bravo 10, Southwest 3778.
So just taking a few looks at this scenery around. There's a carrier, big old carrier.
San Diego, Brown, American 160.
I'm wondering if it's just their front carriers or if that's part of the set. I think it's part of the scene.
Shortest runway 9er via taxiway Bravo, Bravo 10. Contact tower on 118.3 when ready.
Oh yeah, I'm doing it now. Oh, I'm showing the key for the tower view, that 360-degree tower view. It's not by default. You have to go and program a key to do that. There it is. It's view. View track pan toggle. And I put P because I was thinking pan. But if you program a key to do that, you can, anytime you're in the nearest view, you can have a 360 view from the tower. I can't believe I didn't know for, the decades that I have played with this thing. Never knew it. Okay, there's a report. Whew. And there's tells us all kinds of information of our, what we were doing, average speed, blah blah blah. And looking basically at, they're giving us an exceptional flight. They were very happy. They had food, pizza on the ground. In that case, even though we took off bad, we had that issue. Oh yeah, it didn't record it. But look at this. It's like, oh man, the landing lights must be activated when entering the runway until 10,000. I could have swore the landing lights were on. Didn't I just turn them off after we were landed? So we get a fine. Strobe lights must be activated when entering the runway. So I'm thinking is that they were, but when I turned them off, it thinks that they're not. It thinks that they weren't. I guess I should have just left them on. Stalling an aircraft. There, it did catch the stall. That you didn't stop. Since this was the redo flight that I only started at the end there, you didn't see that I did kind of goof at I did the cardinal sin on the takeoff, which was I started to, what did it do? It was like just as I kicked in the autopilot for navigation to the flight plan, we weren't up very high, and I made the mistake of changing the flaps. We were still in climb mode, and I changed the flaps mid there, and we dropped it, and I stalled it for a second. I had to recover it. So I'm ultimately as far as points, I just ultimately lost 3 points for that flight. And we only got 1,528,000 for the flight for income for the FS passengers still. So you can see as earlier I showed that I only have like 3 or 4 right now. So now I got 5 or 6. It's gonna be a while. And yet when I crashed, if I would have saved that deal, I'd be dead. But we'd have had $26 million. It was like 26 mil for the deal. Oh yeah, I'm showing more. Here's showing that's my current inventory of the company, what planes I have. That's the paint that we just had. It's only worth 54 mil. that I had. Well, I just passed it. We got 4.5 million now is all I got. And I got to do the plane, and I got to repair the plane on the aircraft maintenance menu for FSPassengers. People that don't know, to buy a plane, you just have to be in the plane, and then you say buy the current plane, and if you don't have enough money for it. This is setting up food pricing for different classes. Business class, economy class, you're paying more than everybody else in that special. That's the way it works, huh? Anyway, I'm not sure I'm happy with those numbers, but that's where they were. Settings, that's where they were. So I only have 2 pilots. I have another pilot set up, but he's down at still has a Cessna. I was testing to see, it's like, will they make money for you? Like Truck Simulator, will they make money and have flights going on while you're doing other things? It's like, no, they don't. He's just sitting out there in the same state that he was before, or whatever he was when he last flew. I've only taken 5 flights in this jet within FSX-Passengers. So there's a look at that. Giving some more looks at some things for FSPassengers before we go. Here I was talking about here. I hope you liked the tips. It's like I wasn't even done giving tips. Obviously, create a new pilot, view the map, dangerous area database. This is a whole different thing. I was just showing you. There's the chatter files that I have and the frequencies that they're on. We were just using the one from KF demo ATC from KSFO. I have picked up some in French, Paris, obviously all those places. And then there's the folder you can open up. That's how it goes underneath the FSPassengers radio chatter, and you make the folder the name of the channel, the number of the channel that you want to be. You can make your own. You could go in and make all your own WAV files for that. I should have gone down there farther to see if it's multiple ones or just a single one. That just gives me an idea now that I think about it. And they have some of these live ATC sites in your my spare time or some other time or whatever. If you want to go to them, if it's listening and sounding good, turn on the sound recorder and record them, and then boom, for any areas that I want, it's like boom, you got your own. So what are we looking there? Aircraft rank and price browser, yeah, showing what they cost. So it limits the type of aircraft you fly, and we can sort it. So this is just grabbing everything that's in my aircraft folder, and it would be full of all those AI aircraft, probably, I'm pretty sure, because it grabs anything, and which you can't fly, and you'd have to be sorting through. So that's why I really like, that's another reason why it's not, I moved all the AI aircraft into under miscellaneous instead of under airplanes. They still work, just like the traffic still works as a scenery rather than underneath scenery world scenery. So you can see the low prices on most on quite a bit of these, but those are all, there's very few as you look through to see a large aircraft. There's a 737 in for 52 grand, which is around the same prices that the 727 that we're running, which is right there, because I paid 56 for the FSN 727 right there in about the middle of the screen. You see they're a little above that, but and there's an Airbus that's cheaper. But is that the default one? Yeah, but I still think that 321 is not that big of a plane. It doesn't hold the, I don't know. I'm going to have to check that out. But yeah, because if it's, look at its weight. Its weight's, it's in the same weight class, so it's not very big. And I think when I looked, I don't think it even carries as many passengers as a 727. It might, or maybe it's just equal, and I chose this one for now to buy the money. But you start getting the bigger ones, and we're in the 226 million, right? Yeah. We're talking million. From 56 to, you know, the first larger Airbuses, and occasionally you'll get a payware one, which is what I thought at first for this one, but I guess it's wrong. That will be pretty darn low. I'm not a payware, a free aircraft that somebody made that will be pretty low priced. Obviously, I'm just looking at the fact that there's no, there's a field. The aircraft name is empty for those TDS Boeings. Those are fully, everything. I also got rid of a bunch of planes that I had that were old. I didn't get rid of them. I just moved them out, and they can be moved back in. FS9, 2004. Planes that won't work in, not FS9, in DX9. They only work in DX9 mode only. They don't, they're white. Also, if you try to go in DX10 mode. So it's just a way of me keeping those separate, because there may be times when I want to use them, and then I just move them back on in and change the DX9 mode. The crew thing here. When I changed the crew when we started the flight to use CoPilot, and it says or keep the default one. That's the default. That's where you set the default, and I have set that select voice back default at random. So if I wouldn't have selected it, who knows what we would have gotten. And sometimes some of those, the French crew and pilot, they're in French, so you wouldn't understand anything. These are also all these different items that you can change on whether it's utilized or not, right? So that's not really a deep discussion of that one, that's for sure. Sorry about that. And there's something about this virtual airline that is actually, I think it's FSPassengers saying that I'm always like, probably not many people do anything there. All of us have a lot of things. There's the map showing that since every flight I've taken is out of San Francisco, and then there's the one to Hawaii, and one to New York, and everything else has been, mostly where I have blue sky scenery, right? Some Wyoming and Montana and Arizona and all that, but whatever, it'd be nice if I could, but I can't again get to pay this guy and be able to, take off from here on another FSPassengers flight, but it can't. Everything has to be out of San Francisco. So I just consider myself a pilot based out of San Francisco for now. Hey, there goes and that's where I kind of thought my frame rate was kind of looking wacky there. So I'm I was going to talk about, really, there's a convenience stores, and there's like more buildings in reality in real life, and what that is some crazy landing when they land coming in there, which I used to have, the headquarters of my company was in San Diego, so I used to fly in there, and that's one heck of a steep landing there. It's kind of strange that they're going off and been taken off here that way. But normally, it's the other way. You can realize most
Taxi 2 and hold short runway 9er. Using taxiway
Bravo
Bravo
I'm
10.
wrong. That would be correct. If they're landing, coming and landing from the other way, then this would be the takeoff way. I'm sure it's actually different. So again, okay, so now we're over with the, now I've finished trying to give you information about FSPassengers, and I think that's about the end of it. That's enough about the end of this morning trip. It's time to get up and get on with the rest of the day. But it's kind of a, it's like a kind of an active airport here.
Southwest 59er warp, hold position. Caution the Boeing 737 on the taxiway. Southwest 59er warp, continue taxi.
Roger, Southwest 59er warp.
It's time to say sayonara. Fly the friendly skies of all things Flight Simulator X. Fly the friendly YouTube channel. Subscribe and like. And like again. Maybe we come up with some more interesting co-pilots. I know it's kind of long, but you can skip around. Right. I guess showing you, oh yeah, I'm going ahead and I'm taking that road vehicles down to 25% just to reduce it a little, and then we're out of here. Okie dokie. Oh. Okay. And stand by.